Live Desk.
Good afternoon and welcome to Wisconsin Live Desk. I'm Derica Williams on the controls today. If you're new to Wisconsin Live Desk, we take just live images, live reports, anything kind of going on around our area, around the country, and just news that matters to you. So right now, I do want to bring in Laura Kate. She is with the American Lung Association. So there are some new reports, the new report revealing lung cancer trends across Wisconsin, the 2025 State of Lung Cancer Report. Just some pretty startling findings. Laura Kate, thank you for joining us today. How are you?
Good, thanks for having me.
Great, thanks for being here. If you don't mind, let's just get started with some of the report's findings that were just released.
Absolutely. So the Lung Association's State of Lung Cancer Report found that overall there's some really good news. Rates of early diagnosis are up and rates of survival are up. And that's critical because lung cancer kills more people than any other cancer in both Wisconsin and across the country.
Okay. Talk a little bit about, in addition to what the reports found, what you're seeing people can do now, because there were some signs of progress I saw in this report as well.
Absolutely. A couple of the big reasons for that improvement in the survival rate is that we have screening, more people are getting screened, and we have new targeted treatments through biomarker testing. So one thing that people can do is if they qualify, they can get screened. People who are over 50, who have a smoking history, should find out if they're eligible. They can do that through us at savedbythescan.org, and that can let them know if they need to get screened for lung cancer to catch it early if they have it.
Can you share a little bit more about the biomarker testing and what are some of the indicators that people should look out for?
Absolutely. So if you're diagnosed with lung cancer, it can be really critical and really helpful to have access to biomarker testing. Basically, they test your tumor to look for specific signs, proteins or other things too big to see with the eye. They could then result in you having a targeted treatment. If they find something specific in your lung cancer, they might have a specific treatment that can target it. So one of the things we're asking for with this year's report is that Wisconsin require insurers to cover that testing.
I'm looking at some of the report right now, and it's pretty startling. Apparently, it's saying in Wisconsin, I just had it right here. Hold on, I lost it. But 23 rather, out of the 51 people in the nation are getting it for smoking at 12%. 28 out of 51 in the nation are on the rate basically for new lung cancer cases. The national rate 52.8 per 100,000. And lung cancer, the leading cause of cancer deaths in Wisconsin. That's pretty startling.
It really is. We've come a long way. There are lots of new treatments. The ability to detect it early is saving lives, but there's still a lot that the state and the country needs to do. We need to make sure that people have the ability to quit tobacco use, that they have clean air to breathe, that we address radon in the buildings where we're spending our time. And we need to make sure that people have access to healthcare that can treat and catch these problems.
Okay, and what can you tell us about, increased CT scans? I know it's hard to get those. Dealing with insurance could be problematic for some, but how can you be screened in terms of detection for the disease early?
So people who qualify should absolutely do it. These are low-dose CT scans. Folks who qualify should get them every year. And again, if you are over 50, if you have a smoking history, you might qualify. So it's worth it to take the quiz, savedbythescan.org, to see if you do, and then go get it. Most insurers should cover it, and it could be an absolute lifesaver in catching cancer early before it spreads.
And the State of the Lung, Cancer Report really highlighting opportunities for different states to kind of get involved and reduce that burden of lung cancer, just encouraging everyone to help put an end to it and make some awareness.
Absolutely. The good news is that Wisconsin is above average compared to the states across the country in our report for its screening rates, but it's still underutilized. There's still a lot more people who could and should be getting screened.
All right, one more quick note before we go. In addition to the progress that I know you guys have been making, there have been great gains in the youth market too, in terms of seeing progress in youth lessening tobacco use and things like that as well.
Absolutely. We know that this is a key driver, but we know that the threat's not over. There are still far too many tobacco products that are accessible to youth, and we need to make sure that things like the state's indoor air law remain as protective as it is now, not opening up any loopholes that would make it easier for places to allow tobacco use once again.
All right, I see Wisconsin ranks 12th in the nation for Wisconsin lung cancer screening, so we got to get that number better. Laura, I really do appreciate talking with you. Is there anything else that you would like to share, or how folks can, get some more information, get involved, or even the mission, things like Fight for Climb, which I know we have in Milwaukee?
Yes, absolutely. Number one, learn about the report. Go to lung.org/SOLC, stands for State of Lung Cancer. You can dig into the state results. There's tons of information there. And number two, again, if you qualify for lung cancer screening, savedbythescan.org, it could truly save your life.
Truly, and seeing these numbers, I'm sure if someone has it, someone they know does. So, Laura, thank you very much. Definitely some sobering statistics and things that could help. So we appreciate you today. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. All right. I just wanted to share that with you because those numbers just came out. They had that report released yesterday. Also, what's going on right now, let's take a quick look and see. I want to pull up. Let's take a quick look right here. I see the Maryland governor making remarks right now. I see the president. I think this was a recorded one. So let's go live right now with ALC4. Let's take a quick look at this router and hear what they're saying. Let's stand by for a quick second and see, as we're on day 37 of this government shutdown. Let's take a quick listen.
Currently, we have already invested $24 billion over the last 10 years here, and these investments have created more than 10,000 jobs. And they have generated $21 billion of GDP just in 2024 alone. And today, as I'm standing here talking, cranes are up, as you would like to say, in North Carolina, because we're just expanding our North Carolina manufacturing site once again with $4 billion additional dollars. In some strange way, you could say, even though we have a Danish heritage, we have been more American and been here for a long time and proud American than many other companies that were born here. And we are very proud of that. In fact, we are proud to say that our approval of Wegovy pill will be the only GLP-1 that will be manufactured end-to-end here in America by Americans and for Americans. This agreement reflects a shared belief that the administration has provided a safe and effective, innovative medicines accessible to many patients. And because we know different patients have different needs, we are very excited to have our semaglutide 7.2 milligram, the higher dose, now, as we call it, Wegovy Plus, available as part of the receiving priority voucher. We stand here to ensure that all Americans who need Ozempic or Wegovy can access the affordable medication, so they don't need to go and get.
Okay, until those were some recorded remarks from the Trump in the Oval Office. But before we get to him, I do want to go back to the Maryland governor, if we could take a quick look at that until the president gets up there and talks. So just stand by for that, and let's take a quick listen, and let's see.
Congressman Steny Hoyer, Congressman Glenn Ivey, and Senate President Bill Ferguson.
I want to be to you. I want to be to you, right?
You are, man. Well, good afternoon, everyone. We are here today to announce the lawsuit that the state of Maryland and Prince George's County are filing against the Trump administration for their unlawful efforts to divert funds away from and to undermine and prevent the FBI headquarters coming to Greenbelt, Maryland. So we're going to hear from the governor. We've got the lineup of speakers. Mr. Governor.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Good afternoon, everybody. First, I wanted to thank the Attorney General for his leadership, for his vision, and for his fight, especially now in this moment. Today is now day 37 of Donald Trump's federal government shutdown. And this now is the longest shutdown in American history. And right now, President Trump controls the White House, President Trump controls both chambers of Congress, and frankly, all he needs to do is pick up the phone to be able to make the deal and to get everyone back to work. All he needs to do is make a phone call so families don't have to go hungry. All he needs to do is make a phone call so that we have people who are not going to work and not being paid. All he needs to do is make a phone call to make sure we are not risking children losing food assistance and people losing their health care. But if there's one thing that we know about this president, is that he seemingly does not give a damn about public servants. And that's why this debate about the FBI building is so important and what it's all about. It's about our public servants. And the Attorney General is going to walk through all the legal reasoning behind the lawsuit. So I want to spend just a few minutes talking about what moving the FBI headquarters from Greenbelt to the Reagan building means for our public servants, for our law enforcement. Because the president's plan is not just illegal. Frankly, it just lacks common sense. And his foolishness will put our public servants in jeopardy. The big problem with the current FBI building is that it lacks the modern security provisions and protections that the Bureau needs in 2025. So to be frank, the building is too old, it is too small, and it is too exposed. So what then does the president do? He decides to move the FBI building to another building that is too old, too small, and too exposed. This is ridiculous. And frankly, it's the reason that we are all so frustrated, but why none of us are surprised. Because this is a president who has presided over the firing of agents who investigated the January 6th attack on the Capitol. This is an administration that's abruptly relocated senior agents and disbanded the Public Corruption Squad. Now we know he's trying to shortchange the FBI by killing our plan for a new, modern, cutting-edge headquarters. But the president should be less focused on making sure that billionaires can have a nice stay in the Lincoln bedroom, and more focused on making sure that our FBI agents can do their jobs safely and securely. We are going to fight this thing with everything that we have. Maryland is going to fight this thing with everything that we have, because in Maryland, we do not bend the knee. And we stand up for our public servants. Greenbelt is the best home for the FBI, for their mission, for their agents, for their future. And it's the result of close analysis and a fair process. So if Donald Trump thinks that we are going to roll over when he tries to make life worse for our law enforcement, he better think twice, and we'll see him in court. I will now turn this back over to our extraordinary Attorney General.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Governor. Look, I'm honored to stand here with Governor Moore, with County Executive Aisha Braveboy, and I want to thank you for hosting us here today. To stand here with Steny Hoyer, Congressman Hoyer, and Congressman Glenn Ivey, and the Senate President. It's truly an honor to stand here today. And before I offer some brief remarks, I just want to thank some folks who really made this happen. And I know that County Executive Braveboy is going to mention her legal team at the County Attorney's Office. It's been a pleasure working with you. I want to thank my team at the Federal Accountability Unit within the Office of the Attorney General. And I also want to thank the Governor's Office of Legal Counsel for the work that we've done together to bring this complaint to fruition. So again, thank you for hosting us, County Executive Braveboy. As I mentioned earlier, we are here to announce the Office of the Attorney General in Prince George's County. We are filing a lawsuit to stop the Trump administration's unlawful attempt to sabotage a new FBI headquarters project in Greenbelt. For more than a decade, Maryland worked alongside federal partners through a careful, transparent process to bring a new FBI headquarters building to Prince George's County. But in 2017, after President Trump took office, his administration canceled the entire project. Congress revived it in 2022 with new funding and a clear directive telling GSA to select a location from 3 sites, 2 in Maryland and 1 in Virginia. We followed every rule. We met every requirement. And 2 years ago, in November of 2023, most of us here stood together then to announce that the federal government had selected Greenbelt as a site for this transformative project. Congress backed the decision. Between 2016 and 2024, Congress has appropriated over $1.1 billion specifically for this project. It wasn't just Congress who set aside money. Maryland and Prince George's County made extraordinary commitments to this project. The state pledged approximately $250 million for improvements to transportation infrastructure. Prince George's County pledged over $100 million in funding of its own. We did this because we expected our communities would benefit from high-paying jobs and transformative economic development opportunities. Marylanders were counting on this project. Prince George's County was counting on this project. Local businesses were counting on this project. We invested because the federal government said it was coming. Yet last month, President Trump said he would put a stop to this project, not last month, last March. He said that, and not allow the FBI to relocate to Maryland. But that's not how it works, Mr. President. When Congress passes a law and appropriates money for a specific purpose, the executive branch doesn't just ignore it because they don't like the outcome. But that's exactly what happened here. In July, the FBI and GSA announced they were abandoning Greenbelt and moving the headquarters to the Ronald Reagan Building in Washington, D.C. Congress had been clear. GSA was to choose among 3 locations, A, B, or C, and the Trump administration picked D. And that's as close as failure as you get. They provided no explanation for discarding years of planning, no consultations with Maryland as required by federal law. They simply announced they had decided to renovate a building Congress never even considered to house the FBI. And then the FBI and GSA both took steps to redirect the more than $1 billion in funding that Congress set aside for the project. What we're really seeing is an administration that doesn't like the decision Congress made. So they're trying to undo it without going back to Congress. That violates federal law. It violates congressional directives. It harms Marylanders who were promised jobs and opportunities. That's why we took action. So our lawsuit, we allege that the Trump administration is attempting to unlawfully reprogram and transfer over $1 billion in funds that Congress designated specifically for the Greenbelt project. They violated explicit congressional directives that limited site selection to the 3 authorized locations. They ignored federal requirements to consult with state and local government, and they acted arbitrarily and capriciously by abandoning years of careful planning without explanation or justification. We are asking the court to stop the unlawful selection of the Reagan building, prevent the diversion of congressionally appropriated funds, and ensure the federal government, the Trump administration, follows the law. Maryland, we played by the rules. We won the project fairly, and we will not let this administration steal jobs and opportunities from Prince George's County and Maryland. So I want to thank you very much again. Welcome Aisha Bravo to the program.
Thank you so much, Attorney General Brown, for partnering with the county's Office of Law in filing this lawsuit today. I want to thank our leader, our governor, Wes Moore, who said, and he continues to say, he will leave no one behind. And today he's proving he will leave no county behind. And I appreciate all that you do. You know, there's so many issues going on in this country. And I can tell you, I just left probably what was the largest single job fair in Prince George's County's history, with over 2,000 people lining up at our sports and learning complex. Every single county agency was there. The private sector was there. Our utilities were there. Our nonprofits were there. And guess what? We're going to have another one in a couple of weeks because the needs are real. So there's so many battles that we're fighting right now. And we have to, of course, pick and choose our battles. But I can tell you, this battle, the one we're announcing today, is worth fighting. It's worth fighting. The Greenbelt FBI headquarters site, and I will concede nothing. So this site will be the largest single economic development project in the history of Prince George's County. It will create over 7,500 jobs. It will add roughly $4 billion in economic benefits to the state and the county. This project is so important that it will positively affect the gross domestic product of Prince George's County. That's how significant this project is. It doesn't get any bigger than this. And we're not going to give something up that is this important without a fight, especially when we won this fair and square. You know, today you see Team Prince George's, not just on this stage, but in the audience. I see the mayor of Greenbelt, which will be the future site of the FBI headquarters. I see our county council led by our chair, Ed Burrows, here today. Strong. Your council members came out strong because we are all in this together. And I want to thank the members of my administration, led by my CAO, Maxine Bardwell. Thank you so much. Along with our county attorney, Anthony Jones. Thank you so much for your hard work. And my chief of staff, Latara Harris. As the Attorney General mentioned, we joined this lawsuit together. In our suit, we argued that the Trump administration, when the Trump administration announced that the FBI headquarters would not be located in Greenbelt, that was illegal. That it's illegal because Congress directed through the Consolidated Appropriations Acts of 2022 and 2023 that Congress directed, as the Attorney General mentioned, that the FBI should be located at one of 3 locations, Greenbelt and Landover, which were both in Prince George's County, or in Springfield, Virginia. After the selection of the Greenbelt site was made in 2023, the administration illegally decided to pick a location that had never even been contemplated contemplated by Congress. That decision, as was mentioned, was arbitrary and capricious. The entire state of Maryland is united in keeping the FBI in Prince George's County at its Greenbelt site. And I am grateful to be here today. You know, when other jurisdictions in this region have been able to benefit from the location of major agencies like NIH in Montgomery County, it spurred the growth of industries like life sciences and the pharmaceutical industry. When the Pentagon came to Northern Virginia, it ignited the growth of the defense contracting industry. And so here in Prince George's County, we have an opportunity to be the leader in cybersecurity for not just this nation, but the world. And we're not conceding, and we're not giving it up, because it's far too important for us. And by filing this lawsuit today, we are standing up and fighting for the economic future of Prince George's County, and we're standing for the rule of law. I would like to thank everyone who has been a part of this process for so many years. And I truly believe that as we continue to fight for our economic rights and our economic future, we will see the FBI located here in Prince George's County at a site that is absolutely perfect to protect those men and women who are protecting our country day in and day out. I can tell you, as the former state's attorney, I worked very closely, and in fact, in my last case that I prosecuted, my last homicide case that I prosecuted, we worked hand in hand with the FBI experts to analyze the evidence to secure a guilty conviction of someone who killed a teacher who served our students in the Greenbelt area. I think there's no more poignant case to point out the importance of the FBI to the future of Prince George's County than a case like that. We work hand in hand with our partners at the FBI, and we want them here. And we look forward to them making Prince George's County their home. Thank you. Oh, and now I will welcome a true warrior. Like if you're in a fight, you want this guy to be with you. And that is our congressman, and my congressman, Steny Hoyer.
Well, I just got into this issue the other day. Before I talk about when I got into this issue, I want to talk about the fact that we need to open up the federal government of the people of the United States. The problem is, Democrats are negotiating with a group that does not want the government open. Just as Elon Musk with his chainsaw wanted to fire everybody. Russell Vogt, who is essentially the CFO of our country. He's called the OMB director, but he's the chief financial officer. He has said he wants the federal employees to be perceived as the villains. He wants the federal employees to be perceived so badly that when they wake up in the morning, they don't want to come to work. You know, it is illegal in America to create a hostile workplace. Anthony, I'm pursuing with some folks the possibility of suing Russell Vogt. Probably can't sue the president, but Russell Vogt for creating consciously, intently, and with vengeful objectives the creation of a hostile workforce in the federal government. Now, what we are going to create here in Greenbelt, in Prince George's County, in the state of Maryland, is a safe workforce, a strategically housed workforce, a workforce that is consistent with the request that was made of me in 2009. I was the majority leader of the House of Representatives, and the director of the FBI came to my office and he sat down and he said, Stenny, this building in which we are housed is unsafe. 2009. This is 15 years later, 16 to be exact. The building was unsafe. There is not a Democrat or a Republican who has visited that building, including Kash Patel, who doesn't say it is an unsafe environment for our employees, or one could say a hostile environment. And Mr. Mueller said to me in 2009, we need a space somewhat like the CIA or NSA that is a large enough space so that we can insulate ourselves from terrorists, from people who would blow us up. And so they wanted a campus setting with at least a 150-foot setback. I don't know how many of you have gone by the Reagan building. 15 feet or so, a little short. And so I said, Mr. Director, I agree with you. And we started this saga of transparency, of honesty, of consideration, of all the factors that would make our FBI the place where people could work in security and be the most effective for the American people in keeping the peace and keeping law and order. And we worked hard on that from 2009 to 2016. And we were getting close, that close. We were almost there to get it done. And Donald Trump intervened. Donald Trump intervened. And by the way, we're going to have to clear that site where it's located now on Pennsylvania Avenue. And by the way, right across the street was a hotel. Who was the proprietor of that hotel? Donald Trump. And so he canceled it. He didn't decide we're going to put it someplace else. He didn't decide we need to tear down this building because it's unsafe, Governor, for the people who work there. He simply canceled it. And so nothing was done for the next 4 years of a building that all Republicans and all Democrats who have been through it say is unsafe and unworthy, and the directors will say is unsuited to the way they do law enforcement today. And so we had another fight. We started in 21 and 22 and 23. And because of the transparency they've talked about, but mostly because of the suitability of the site to meet the needs and requests of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. That is why ultimately Greenbelt was, not for political reasons, but for suitability to the task that we have assigned to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And now we're in a fight. Because the president...
If you're tuning right now, we're hearing about a legal fight that's going on right now. Maryland plans to sue over the canceled FBI move to Greenbelt. So apparently state leaders are arguing that the Trump administration reversed a relocation plan that was approved under the Biden administration. The FBI now planning to stay in D.C., moving to the Reagan building instead. We just heard prior to this from Maryland's Governor Wes Moore and other state leaders right now who are talking about the lawsuit that was just filed. Once again, it's against the Trump administration for scrapping the plans to relocate the FBI's headquarters to Greenbelt. They call this a transformative project, and it would obviously bring jobs and opportunity to Prince George's County. So this is underway right now, and that's what we're listening to. Apparently, Maryland had been chosen over Virginia after a competitive site selection between those two states. In July, apparently, the FBI announced the Bureau would relocate to the Ronald Reagan building, which is in Washington, D.C., instead of the previously proposed site. So let's continue to take a listen and just giving you a little update now if you're tuning into Wisconsin Live Desk with us.
And I want to mention Larry Hogan, the governor. The governor said to all his Republican colleagues, some of which he's friendly with, some not, this is the best site for the FBI. This was a bipartisan decision going forward that has been turned into a petty, inappropriate, small-bore decision for punitive purposes. Not just against Prince George's County, but against the FBI. Against the FBI. So I am hopeful that this suit will prevail. I believe it will prevail. The Congress has decided. But you remember I mentioned this guy, Russell Vogt. Russell Vogt believes that the passing of laws by the Congress is a suggestion to the executive department. And if they want to follow it, they can. If they don't, they won't, because he believes Article 2 of the Constitution of the United States gives the president plenary power. That is, of course, untrue, and the Supreme Court has held it to be untrue. So I want to thank the Attorney General. I want to thank Ben Cardin. I want to thank Ben Cardin, who was our senior United States Senator. I want to thank Angela, who fought so hard and worked with Hogan in getting the state to make commitments on this. We have stepped up to the plate. We are ready. We are the place it ought to be, and for every valid reason, ultimately, I believe the Congress and even the Executive Department will decide Greenbelt is the site where the Federal Bureau of Investigation ought to be placed, and we ought to do it sooner rather than later. Now, let me also lastly thank the person whose district the FBI is in, and that is Glenn Ivey. It was my district. It was Anthony's district. It's been all over. So we have an interest in this because we have studied this issue from 2009 to date, and it is absolutely the right decision the Congress has made. Put it in Greenbelt and do it now. A long time ago, people would introduce me as the youngest president in the history of Maryland.
All right, and as they're wrapping that up, so will we. We're going to take a quick break and come on back. Lots more left of Wisconsin Live Desk. Just give us a quick moment, and we'll be right back.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hi, welcome back. I'm Jerica Williams here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. So a couple more days and we're talking Veterans Day, but prior to the 11th, lots of things going on to support veterans, to create awareness, and just to celebrate all they've done and the sacrifice that they've done for our country. This is an interesting one, though. It's like fun for a good cause. I want to bring up the Admirals right now. So the Admirals actually have a free offer, tickets for Military Friday Night. So the Admirals are welcoming all veterans and active military personnel with tickets for themselves and their immediate family members to their home game. So their home game is this Friday, November 7th. It is 7 p.m. against the Rockford Ice Hogs. It's going to be at Panther Arena. So this is actually the 20th consecutive season that the Ads have offered this opportunity. We had some statements from them, and they said, this is just really a special night to have these veterans and active military members enjoy one of the games. Obviously, these men and women have sacrificed so much, and it's just a little small token of thanks. So this is just one of them. So let's also see what's happening at this. So, how about this? Vietnam War veteran Bob Chester will actually participate in a ceremonial puck drop prior to the start of the game. Chester is a Menominee Falls native, and he served in the Army from 1967 to 73, and he rose to the rank of captain. Also, he's a distinguished graduate of the U.S. Army Engineer School in 1968. And did a tour of Vietnam, 68 to 69. Actually earned the National Defense Service Medal, Vietnam Service Medal, and the Bronze Star. Not just a star in the military, but also, I guess, on the ice, too. Bob played hockey his entire life and also served as youth hockey coach and a referee. In addition to him, the Air Force veterans and Brewers fan favorite, Bob Kozlowski, will also perform God Bless America. And we're going to have a Korean War veteran, Jung Oh-berg, sing the national anthem. So all about veterans and their families this Friday night. In order to claim your free ticket to the game, there is a 4-ticket limit. Veterans and active military should visit their website. So that's pretty cool, too. So just lots of things going on as we look toward Veterans Day. Let's also mention the parade. I think we have some details of the parade. So this Veterans Day parade is this Saturday. It's in Wauwatosa Village. This parade is going to be presented by Les Lucky Town, and it steps off at 11 a.m. So this is in Wauwatosa on Saturday, November 8th, and the parade will start on the corner of State Street and Hardwood. And then you can watch just, obviously a stunning procession of bands, school groups, active military organizations, local veterans organizations, and a lot others. So that is also happening. I want to also share, this is a campaign that we've been doing. It's close to FOX6's heart. It's called Make Camo Your Cause. Let's take a look at that right now. So Veterans Day, if you guys didn't know, it is on Tuesday, November 11th. And U.S. Vets actually has launched the campaign Make Camo Your Cause. And it's to establish the camouflage print as the official symbol to honor veterans. So taking a look right here, here's how the organization is working. So for the 5th straight year, Fox and its employees, we are partnering with them to U.S. Vets of Make Camo Your Cause. So we're trying to just spread awareness for you to wear camo to support the cause on Veterans Day. So this is what you can do to be part of it. You can shop exclusive camo apparel. You can go to shop.usvets.org, and that actually benefits U.S. Vets. You could wear camo on Veterans Day, November 11th. You can even share camo through social media using the hashtag #HonorUSVets on Veterans Day. And get this, you could do this too. Donate $11 on or before 11/11 to help prevent and end veteran homelessness. U.S. Vets is also looking for volunteers in the fight against homelessness. That national nonprofit relies on corporate and community support to help reach its goal through the partnerships, and it includes obviously direct financial contributions. They have employee giving and matching gifts, campaigns, grants, and just volunteer engagement. You can even also do a hire a vet through U.S. Vets Career Network that connects professionals and student veterans with lasting careers that they love. So just to help with the partnership, to donate and learn more about it, just go to U.S. Vets, and you can help end veteran homelessness. Go to FOX/US Vets. So lots of information about that. It's just, an opportunity to have our veterans help live with, dignity and independence. This is the 5th straight year that Fox is partnering with U.S. Vets to showcase Make Camel Your Cause in this campaign. It's been helping raise funds for years now. If you guys didn't know, U.S. Vets seeks to bring visibility and awareness to the struggle of homeless veterans with really the mission to end homelessness in the United States. The CEO says it understands, obviously, the struggle of many who have served. He's a Marine Corps vet himself. So I'm just looking at some statistics here. Today in the U.S., if you guys didn't know, about 32,000 veterans experience homelessness. That's just an unfortunate number, something that we can help change. Nearly 76% of them experience alcohol, drug, or mental health issues. So, this campaign has been going on, this backstory. U.S. Vets launched this back in 1993 with boots on the ground to combat Americans' homelessness, veterans' homelessness head on. They have 49 residential and service sites nationwide. U.S. Vets provides housing, counseling, career, and supportive services to help veterans rebuild and thrive. So once again, to be part of this, you can wear camo on Veterans Day, November 11th, and just, share #HonorUSVets, just something small that we can do. So I just wanted to mention that as we get closer to Veterans Day and just some of these other things that are happening to honor them. So we're going to take another quick break, and we'll be right back with more Wisconsin Live Desk. Stay with us.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Good afternoon. I'm Derica Williams on the Wisconsin Live Desk. It is 1:19 right now. If you're just joining us, we've been kind of going around the country, even here locally, with some stories of the day. I do want to take this story now to West Bend, where we have Christina Van Zeltz, one of our reporters, who's been working on a story. This is really unfortunate, dealing with some cats that were kind of left dead. Christina, you're learning a little bit more about that, and unfortunately, I believe they were disposed of while this guy's girlfriend was gone. Just a lot going on with these animals, and one that survived and hopefully getting taken care of right now. So, Christina, if you don't mind just sharing a little bit about what you know so far with this story.
Yeah, so I want to take you first to just the positive part of this story. You mentioned that one cat, Helena, that is alive from this situation. She is currently here at the Washington County Humane Society, where they are getting her back to good health, and hopefully she will be able to live a healthy life after this situation. The unfortunate part of this story is that West Bend police were called on Sunday night to a dumpster where they found 8 cats in a plastic container inside a dumpster. 7 of those cats were deceased when police got there, and that one cat did survive. Helena, who is here at the Humane Society. And Derica, as you mentioned, this 26-year-old man was arrested, and it appears that he admitted to disposing of these cats when his live-in girlfriend was away, and blamed affordability and said that we can't afford these cats, and this is essentially what he did, is disposed of them. Police tell us that they found 11 cats total. 7 of those were deceased. 1 of them was in the dumpster, still alive, and then there were 3 more found inside the residence. So no charges have been filed. We did check with the district attorney's office this morning. They said they turned the case back over to police, asking for more information. Charges were referred, and so that is all still pending. But again, a 26-year-old man from West Bend was arrested in this case. And we are staying on top of this, so if charges do come down, we'll bring you the latest, but that is where things stand today.
All right, Christina, one quick question before you go. I know you just started working on this story, so you may not have the answer or are still looking for the answer. This is just a really unfortunate situation, but hearing that the suspect or the man involved said he couldn't afford to take care of the cats, couldn't afford to feed the cats. Sadly, we've heard that before, and especially with the dire straits that people are in right now with inflation or the shutdown, trying to choose between food for them or their animals. Perhaps what is the Humane Society saying about what can people do if they find themselves in this position that they maybe can't care for their animals, or I don't know, are they at capacity, or just kind of how is the Humane Society trying to help out families in this instance?
Yeah, that's one of the things they really wanted people to hear from them, is that there are resources out there. Never have to turn to something like this where it's intentional violence and these animals were found deceased. They talked about here in the Washington County Humane Society, there is a pet store. They offer free food and those resources out there. They're not here to judge. They want to take care of your animal, whatever that means. And they are, unfortunately, at capacity here, and one of the reasons why many humane societies, they say, are at capacity is because the cats that they're getting in, and a late season when it comes to kittens. So if you're interested in a cat, they really need fosters and people to help if that's something that you can do. But really, there are resources and there are ways that they can step in to help you, even if they're at capacity with the free food and things like that. So we'll make sure we link all of that information and those resources to this story later today. You can catch that at the Fox local app. But yeah, that's one of the messages they want people to hear, is there are ways that they can step in and help, ways the community can help. There's free food just right here, free toys. So that is definitely a devastating part of all of this, is that it just turned into animals being disposed in this way.
Yeah, and an important message with those resources, Christina, that you're bringing to us. Thank you very much. And once again, just a sad situation. So thank you for bringing those resources to folks. We appreciate you. All right.
Thanks, Derica.
Thanks. And we're going to take a quick break right now after we're just hearing from Christina. And of course, you could follow up with that story if you need those resources. She'll have a full story later on today, of course, on our Fox 6 News, but we'll have those details too on Fox Local. We will be right back.
Desk.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Wisconsin Live Desk. I'm Derica Williams, 1:26 right now. I do want to hop back into that press conference right now. We've been hearing earlier how Maryland is planning to sue the Trump administration over the canceled FBI move to Greenbelt. So I want to dip back in here with this conversation and continue with that.
So today we filed a complaint, and I don't stand here typically and describe litigation strategy. I can tell you we're going to use all the tools available and all the authorities we have to ensure that we're protecting the interests of Maryland and Prince George's County, so I'm going to leave it at that.
I got the last question, one more from USA 9. Okay, does anybody, hold on, let me ask, does anybody else want to ask a question that's not gone? Okay, and then if we have time, go ahead, ma'am.
Honestly, were you Washington Journal?
Washington.
I just wanted to ask you a question to the county executive. With this building potentially not coming to Prince George's County, what efforts are there to build other economic development projects that would replace these buildings like you want?
So we're not going to replace the Greenbelt site because we are going to build the FBI headquarters at the Greenbelt site. But we have a lot, and I am very excited because we'll be making some announcements relatively soon, but we have some exciting sites here in Prince George's County that will be activated that will bring in tens of millions of dollars in economic impact here to Prince George's County. As you know, we are excited about the redevelopment of the 500-acre Six Flags site. We know that the next development project that will be there will be a year-round project that will generate thousands of jobs and opportunities for Prince Georgians and beyond. So we are very excited about that site and a number of other sites, especially along our Blue Line corridor. For so many years, our inner Beltway communities, our oldest communities with our residents who have been with us from the very beginning, have stuck in there and have waited for grocery stores, for restaurants, really for attention. We are now giving them a lot of attention, and so we will see a lot of activation around our metro stations. So Prince George's County, honestly, is where it's at. In fact, as we are moving forward, we have revised our permitting process to make it much easier, much more simple to get permits, not just for small projects, but for large projects as well. We're working very closely with the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission to streamline all of our efforts to develop here in Prince George's County. Prince George's County will be the epicenter for development for the entire region now, not in a few years, but right now. And so I'm really excited about the future here, all the projects that we have coming online, and just wait and see. You'll be hearing from us very soon. So thank you.
Any other questions?
Great. Okay, that's a wrap. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. I want to thank the Governor, County Exec, Senate President, and Mr. Ivey, Congressman Ivey, 4th Congressional. Oh, and standing, but he left. Yeah, in abstention. Standing. Yeah, can we get, yeah.
The council members, can we get a picture with King Prince George's? Is that okay? Let's get it.
You gotta move this. If you guys are just joining us, we've been listening in to this press conference, which I know the feed just got a little bit glitchy there, but obviously it just ended moments ago. This is about Maryland, which is planning to now sue the Trump administration over a canceled FBI move to greenbelts. We are getting the latest news on that out of Maryland. But it is Haley, and it's now 1:30. I'll be with you for the next hour here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Before Mary Stoker-Smith takes over at 2:30, she'll get you to 3:30 this Thursday afternoon. We are going to go ahead and take just another very quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, and afterwards we are going to go out to Waukesha, where there is kind of the latest reaction to potentially some schools closing as the district there deals with declining enrollment. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll head to Waukesha. Stay with us.
Live Desk.
Hey guys. guys, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. It is Haley Spittler. As I said, I'll be with you here for the next hour as we kind of go all around the state and bring you the latest news live and local. It is 1:34 on your Thursday afternoon. And as I said before we headed to the break, we're going to go out to Waukesha. That is where our very own Brett Lemoyne is joining us this afternoon. And Brett, it's actually something we've kind of talked about before, which is the declining enrollment that the school district is seeing there. But we've talked about there's a myriad of different ideas they had to solve the problem, and now there's some new reaction coming out. What do we got to know, Brett?
Yeah, new reaction and new plans, Haley. This has been going on, as you mentioned, for months now. It started in May in full force, where the district presented a number of different options for school closures. That's kind of ebbed and flowed over the last couple of months as they've gotten community feedback. But here we are now with potentially a decision will be made next week here in the school district of Waukesha. And option E has kind of risen to the top of the school board's choices here, and that includes closing the school behind us here, Lowell Elementary. I want to bring in Kristen Hazley with the PTO here at Lowell, and your supporters here behind you. This, I imagine, has been a difficult period for you parents at Lowell.
Very much so. Yeah, very much so. It's a fear of the unknown right now. A lot of anxiety for our kids, for the teachers, for everyone here. Parents, we don't really know what's going to go on. There's a lot of unanswered questions, too, with the resources that we use in this school. Are we going to be able to transfer them? Are the kids just going to have to, adjust to their other school? We don't know.
Well, and I mean, you mentioned resources. They're very particular and very specific resources
Correct.
for deaf and hard of hearing students. Explain
Correct.
what's at stake. What could be lost?
So our school has 3 soundproof rooms, and we use them for the deaf and hard of hearing students. We also use them for other special education students who need a quiet, soundproof room. We have one of the highest special ed populations in the district. We have almost a 1 in 3 percentage of our kids get special education services. So a lot of those resources are used on a daily basis. These soundproof rooms, for one example, they're used every day for the deaf and hard of hearing. They are a very costly expense to move, and it also takes out the value of the integrity of the sound system in that room.
We've talked to a couple of parents earlier here that are behind you that said their children since the age of 3 have been coming to Lowell, and they've grown and changed because of these the equipment and the programs here.
Correct. Yeah, we have a huge early childhood and 4K program. Starts at age 3 for the deaf and hard of hearing students, as well as other special education students. Our early childhood program here is huge, and there's a lot of valuable resources. One of these soundproof rooms is in the early childhood room itself. So our students can use it and thrive and learn to adjust to sounds, learn to adjust to noise, just learn to adjust to everyday life, which is what they need.
Sure. We certainly don't want to pit any 2 schools against each other. I know you don't either, but at the beginning of this in May, the school district had outlined 3 plans, and in all 3 plans, Bethesda Elementary was marked for closure. Now Bethesda's not really even in the discussion. So what happened?
I don't know. We don't know. I don't know if it was from the talks over the summer. We don't really know. There's a lot of unanswered questions that we have brought up to the school board, brought up to administration, and a lot of it is, well, it's not the school that teaches the students, it's the teachers that teach, so you can move them. Well, with that being said, there's a lot of resources here that cannot be moved. Just wondering, what are we going to do with those?
Yeah. Option E also includes closing Hawthorne and Whittier elementary schools, making Les Paul Middle School a K-8 STEM school. What are your overall thoughts, Lowell aside, with option E?
I am shocked. I am also shocked about Hawthorne, because between Hawthorne and Lowell, we are 2 of the schools with the highest socioeconomic needs in the district, and we are clearly closed. When Blair closed about 5 years ago, those students got sent to Lowell and Hawthorne, and now those students have to be moved again. And it's sad that the same students are getting affected. And I just want to see maybe a different option that is not going to affect the students who need us the most and need the most support.
Right, yeah, because you said more than half, I think, right here at Lowell are considered economically disadvantaged?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
About 60% receive free or reduced lunch and breakfast services here. And this is their second home. These are their families. It's not just the teachers, it's not just the other students. It's the resources in the building, it's the playgrounds, it's the brand new fenced-in playground that they just built last year. There's a lot of things in this building that you cannot move. And this is their kids' second home.
Kristen, as a final thought here, no matter what decision gets made, there are going to be families that are going to be impacted.
Exactly.
What is the fair solution here?
I don't know. I don't know hard to say if there is a fair solution. I just want to have a solution that makes sense. One that if the goal at the end of the day is to save money, pick a school that is not going to cost anything to upkeep or make it safe, make it, fix any of the issues in the building. This school is all up to date. It will cost no additional dollars to keep Lowell open. When I don't know about the other schools, but maybe just looking at every school, how much it's going to cost, and look at those numbers.
Well, we appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time. I'm sure you and all of the supporters here for Lowell and also for Hawthorne and Whittier and Les Paul, for that matter, will all be at this meeting next week. We could potentially hear a decision. Yeah. They said they want to make it before the end of this year so that it can be implemented at the start of the following school year. So it's kind of wait and see. Haley, the superintendent did provide a statement, Jim Siebert, saying that a lot of the equipment here at Lowell can be moved or repurposed to other schools in the district. We'll, of course, have that as part of our reporting for later today, but for now, we'll send it back to you at the Wild desk.
Thanks, Brett. I know this is a very complex issue, and it's nice to get to hear from the parents there, as obviously they don't want to see the closure of the elementary school. Those Sure. We Love Lowell shirts on display right there. All right, thanks, Brett. Good luck with the rest of your story. We know you're busy. Of course, that is the latest coming out of Waukesha. Again, a school district there dealing with the decline in enrollment. So they have been talking about potentially closing schools for a while now. And they have, I think, up to Plan G of different options of what they could do. Right now, it seems like the option that they are leaning towards would involve closing a few elementary schools, including the one that Brett was outside of right there, Lowell Elementary School, where you just heard from a parent who talked about some of the resources that specific school has for special needs students, as well as those who are deaf and hard of hearing. But I think it was such a good question by Brett to say, obviously, how do you decide which school to close? What would be the most fair thing to do? Because I'm sure you could go to every school that's part of an option, and you're going to find parents who are going to fight for it to stay open as well. So again, the next thing coming up out of that story would be November 12th. That is next Wednesday. There will be a school board meeting. We're not sure if a decision will be made then, but we do know that parents are asked and invited to come and share their thoughts. So Brett has been working on that story, following it for months now, and I'm sure he'll keep us very much updated if anything new does come out of potential school closures there. Well, hey, we're going to take another break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. And Delaney, what do you think? When we get back, should we maybe put on our sports helmets? Should we talk football?
Yeah, we'll check in with Tim Van Voren.
I love that. Delaney's teasing our next interview for us. She can do it all. That's right. TVV is going to get ready for us. He's at Lambeau. He's got the latest on your Packers as we get ready for Monday Night Football. But first, we got to take a break. Okay, Delaney?
We'll be back after this short break.
She crushes that.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. Time check for you now. It is 1:45 on a Thursday, which means it's time to start yet another week of the NFL. But for the Packers, you got to wait an extra day because they are the Monday Night Football game taking on the Philadelphia Eagles at Lambeau Monday night. And of course, we got to bring in our very own TVV, Tim Van Voren, our sports director. He's at Lambeau. He's got the latest for us. Tim, I just want to quickly address what happened last week, and then we can hopefully move forward. But what happened? How did the Packers lose to the Panthers? What were they slated? They had 14 points on them, people thought?
Yeah, two touchdown favorite, Haley. You're exactly right. Just a disappointing performance all the way around. A dark day, a dark November day, which made the injury to Tucker Kraft even darker. Tough day in Green Bay, no question about it. Packers really laid an egg, and it could be the type of game that is a springboard to a troubling second half, to be honest with you, for this season. Green Bay was in the prime position in the NFC playoffs, standings at least halfway through the season or so. And that loss now with a big game coming up against Philadelphia, you could plummet right beneath a bunch of teams in the NFC. So the Packers obviously hope that doesn't happen, but they definitely took away the opportunity to create some space and put themselves in a good position last Sunday. I was a little concerned, Haley, when you started talking there that you were going to bring up something maybe about your fantasy team or something, that it didn't go well for you. So, I feel comfortable answering about the Packers and Panthers. I'm not sure about your fantasy team, though. So hopefully that's still going well.
Oh, I have great news. I easily won last week with my fantasy team. I think I had like 60 points on the girl I was playing, so we're good.
Excellent. Well, the chance to be on with you, and you're in a good mood about that. A little cameo from Delaney. I mean, this is kind of a nice Thursday for me. Usually it's a Wednesday. This is kind of a Thursday highlight leading into a big game.
That's right. This is a Thursday treat for all of us. We love when you join us on the Wisconsin Live Desk. You were talking a little bit about what this Packers loss might mean as far as rankings go. I'm curious what you think just in the NFC North. I mean, what do we have now? Packers, Bears, Lions, all at 5 wins?
Yeah, and Minnesota right behind, also with a 500 record. Nobody in the division has a losing record. This is the first time in what would that be? 55 years, Haley, that a division has had teams that started out into this position 7 weeks into the season or later. Every team in the division happened last year, happened this year. So 2 years in a row in the NFC North. And this was a setback for the Packers. It's one thing to lose to Cleveland. Okay, we can get over that. One thing to tie Dallas. Well, okay, now you've lost to Carolina as well. That stuff is hard to catch up from, particularly when you're in a very good division. If you're looking at the playoffs, and granted, that's a ways down the road, but if you're looking at the playoffs, you have to figure from this division. Right now, all 4 teams are in contention for that. And that's a lot of jumbling, a lot of division games that are really going to matter the rest of the way. You can't do anything about it. The Packers kicked away the game against Carolina. They kicked away the game against Cleveland. They should have beaten Dallas. That stuff's all in the past. Now they have to go forward, Haley, try to put things back together. They still have a lot of talent, but without Tucker Kraft, they have a lot of adjusting to do as well. And that's the challenge on Matt LaFleur, the coaching staff, and the team this week.
Yeah, you were just talking about Tucker Kraft. I mean, I think he found out on his birthday that it was an ACL tear, out for the rest of the season. What does this offense need to do now to kind of fill that void?
Well, Matt LaFleur was telling us today it's everybody. It's everybody that's going to have to step up and contribute here. It's not just the backup tight ends who step up. Luke Musgrave would be the first guy there. John Fitzpatrick and Josh Wiley, that's now your tight end group. That's not Tucker Kraft. No offense to the guys that I just mentioned. So it is running backs. It is wide receivers. It's Jordan Love having to play a little bit better. It's the Packers faced with a situation here that their offense is going to have to be more consistent or more productive, Haley. And if you look at the 2 losses this season, Cleveland and Carolina, the Packers scored a combined 23 points in those 2 losses. That's on the offense, and that's what has to be rectified going forward.
You know, Tim, this was also the week that saw the trade deadline kind of come and go. Packers didn't add anyone new to the roster. But what about our division rivals? Did they make any moves that we need to be concerned about, or do you think we got out of this clean?
Yeah, the Bears made one, I would say, minor move. So not a lot of action in the NFC North, and I didn't expect the Packers to do anything. They don't generally do anything anyway, and of course they made the big Micah Parsons trade prior to the season, so they gave up some capital there. They're playing the Eagles this week. The Eagles made a mess of trades. They're very aggressive with their personnel, but that tells you also they felt they needed to upgrade. So they acquired 3 players that are going to have prominent roles, including Jair Alexander, the former Packer, who really never got started in Baltimore this year. He's had injury problems really since his time here in Green Bay. So he could play Monday night against his old team. But again, the Eagles look to me like, a class team in the NFC. Can be very tough to beat. But even their GM was, as recently as the last couple of weeks, making moves to shore things up. So he thought they had weaknesses too. That's kind of the NFL this year, Haley. Week to week, team to team, so much up in the air.
Yeah, you keep mentioning the Eagles, because that's who we are playing on Monday, defending Super Bowl champs. It's going to be a hard victory, but what do the Packers need to do to try and get that W?
Well, they can't turn the football over. It would be nice if their defense, if you're a Packer fan, got some takeaways. Packers haven't really done much of that this year. That's your chance to do things. I think they need a little confidence, too, after what happened with Carolina here at home. I think they want to start well. If they don't start well and the Eagles get up on the scoreboard, I think there could be some, looking at each other here, wondering how we're going to get this thing pulled together. So I think as much as any week, a good, strong, confidence-building start would behoove the Packers coming up on Monday night.
When you talk about the Eagles, I feel like you always have to talk about the tush push. I just feel like this is a move that they have really made famous. And did I hear that Matt LaFleur was kind of talking about the tush push and maybe what they plan to do to stop that?
He feels apparently like you do. You have to talk about the tush push. Didn't really want to do it. He got 7 questions about it today, Haley. At one point finally said, guys, I'm not really going to get into this. I've talked about it before. LaFleur feels, and rightfully, the best thing to do about the tush push is don't get into that position. Don't let the Eagles get short yardage, because it's a very difficult play to stop. For people who aren't fully familiar with it, basically the Eagles just group everybody together and kind of move like a rugby scrum forward, and it's been very tough to stop. Certain teams have tried to get that banned. The Packers were the leaders in trying to get that banned going into this season, saying it's not a football play. So that'll just juice it up a little bit, because the Packers were anti-tush push so publicly, and the Eagles have stayed with it, continuing on into this season.
Okay, so we know Packers are against the tush push. Eagles are very much for it. Where does TVV stand on the tush push?
I don't like watching it. I think it's a mess out there. It's hard to officiate. But right now it's a play in the legal rules of football. So I would agree, you got to stop it. I don't take anything away from the Eagles. They have exploited a situation that they have found in the rules that allows them to play it. So I don't personally like watching it. It'd be fine with me if it was banned from the game, but right now it's in the game, and you have to credit the Eagles for running it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of fun. Sometimes when we Zoom with you here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, you're in your car. Today, though, we see Lambeau behind you. I'm curious, what is your favorite part about being at Lambeau? I mean, such a historic stadium.
It is historic. It's cool every single time, Haley. I've been up here, for years. You drive up here and you never know what you're going to get. You always get something fresh, and the adrenaline does kind of take over. Last week against Carolina, Lily Zhao and I got out of the car in the parking lot and said, boy, it seems awfully flat. And lo and behold, it was flat all day long, right on through the game. So sometimes you get a little tip-off. I assume Monday night the atmosphere will be drastically different with the Eagles and it being a night game, etc. But my favorite thing, I think, is just to recognize how much has occurred here at Lambeau Field in NFL history. Some of the greatest, most noteworthy games, recognizable games, have been played here at Lambeau Field. I've had the great thrill to be at, since the 90s, a lot of, I guess, every one of those games since then. So that's very cool. And just to know that you're somewhere special. I was talking with one of the security people who works here the other day, and they said, you know what, no matter what, even these visiting teams come in, and there's somebody on the team who hasn't played here before and is just kind of, dumbstruck, kind of the jaw dropping because it's so cool. So even that still happens to NFL players and coaches who haven't been here before.
Yeah, so even as a Chicago Bears fan, I can absolutely respect the history of Lambeau. At some point, I'd love to get there, whether that be for a game or a concert. All right, TVV, anything else that's on your mind as we head into Week 10 of the NFL
Well, I think you're
season?
campaigning there to get the assignment to get to one of these games, Haley. That's good. Just make a public claim that you want to be out there. Sooner or later, somebody has to answer that response. But I just think for the Packers, I think it's a really big game, Haley. I don't think there's any other way to say it. It would have been anyway. You're playing the Super Bowl champions, but because of what's happened and where you are positioned now, if you lose this football game, suddenly, oh my gosh, the position that we had has really changed. We don't have Kraft. What's going on in the second half of the season? You bounce back and win it, and it's back the way the Packers were before that Panthers game when they felt so good after Pittsburgh and defeating the Steelers with that second half, Haley. So I get the cliche, it's a week to week in the NFL, but it's as true here and in this situation coming up for this game as ever.
Yeah, absolutely. A very important game for the Packers. And don't worry, TVV, I will keep you updated on how my fantasy league does this week. We're going to hope for another win.
Excellent. Yeah, no question. And obviously you're building credibility here with your performances, Haley. So definitely keep me in the loop.
Thank you. I will. Always a pleasure getting to chat with TVV. Thanks for joining us on the Wisconsin Live Desk.
You bet. We'll do it again soon.
Yes, we will. All right, that's gotten us all in the know ahead of Monday Night Football. Again, that's when the Packers taking on Super Bowl defending champs, the Philadelphia Eagles. That will be at 7:15. I think that's going to be a good game. All eyes will be on that one for sure. Delaney and I were talking about how we're curious if Jason Kelce might make an appearance at Lambeau. Delaney, are you a Jason Kelce fan? Oh, that would be helpful if I pulled Delaney up.
I am.
Because, he does Monday Night Countdown, and then he also, obviously, former Eagle. So hopefully he's going to be at Lambeau. He's such an entertaining person.
He is. It would be exciting to see him at Lambeau.
I think it would.
A lot of fun.
Any predictions? Packers? Eagles?
I don't know. I hope the Packers win, but the Eagles are a good team.
Okay, so I do just want to say this. The girl that I am playing this week has a weirdly high amount of Packers players on her team, which I don't ever think is a very good strategy because, your bye week is going to be painful. So I hope that the Packers win, but I hope that these players don't do great. Because then I
get that.
The points,
Yeah, I understand.
Also, I don't know that I actually do hope that the Packers win. I am a Bears fan, but I'm not it's not baseball, so I'm okay. If the Packers do, fine, I'm okay with it. I care more about baseball.
Yeah, you'll be a Packers fan soon enough. We'll get there.
Okay, I gave you my basketball allegiance. I am a Bucks fan. I think we're gonna stop it there.
Oh, we are? I thought we were maybe gonna get you to be a Packers fan.
To be a Packers fan? I don't see it happening. I don't hate the Packers, though. I will happily, good job, but I'm not going to, put on my green and gold. No cheesehead.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's where I think I'm at with that one.
All right, that's fair.
It's fair. All right, should we take a quick break and then maybe do question of the day?
Yeah, let's do it.
Which is kind of on theme for what we were just talking about.
It is.
That was a little tease. All right, we'll be back in 2 minutes.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. It's Haley Spittler with you for the next 30 minutes before Mary Stoker-Smith takes over at 2:30, and she will get you guys all the way to 3:30. We were going to do question of the day, but if you can see, right there, our very own Jason Calvi is currently, I think, getting ready to potentially do a hit for us, which we're really excited about. So while we work on getting Jason, I actually really quickly want to take you out to Mitchell International Airport, taking a live look. As you can see, one Delta plane on the runway there. I don't know if you guys have heard this yet, but there was huge news that came out today because the government shutdown does continue. We are now in day 37. So the FAA has said that 40 major airports must kind of cut back on their traffic by 10%. Mitchell International Airport is not one of those 40. However, Midway and O'Hare, both out of Chicago, are, as well as Minneapolis, as well as Detroit. So a lot of times, maybe you're flying out of Chicago, or maybe you're connecting through Chicago or Detroit or Minneapolis. Again, we don't know what flights will be canceled, but 10% of flights in those 40 major airports will start being canceled as of tomorrow. So if you have any flights booked, you're going to want to keep your eye on that. A lot of the airlines say they will reach out directly to you if your flight gets canceled. They say that you will most likely just go ahead and automatically be rebooked on the next available flight, or they say you'll be able to get a refund. So that was kind of big kind of news that came out of the government shutdown today. Of course, another big headline throughout the government shutdown has been the funding for SNAP. We've been covering this all week. Actually, it was last Friday that we found out, breaking during Wisconsin Live Desk, that the Trump administration was going to have to use contingency funds to continue funding SNAP starting in November. However, they were saying they don't have enough to fully fund it. As of yet, it didn't seem like money had hit those accounts. It's a story that our very own Jason Calvi has been working hard on for weeks now. He joins us live here on the Wisconsin Live Desk with an update out of here in Milwaukee as far as some funding that was approved today. Jason, what do we got to know here?
So the Milwaukee County Board of Supervisors has approved $150,000 in emergency funding that will go from the county's contingency fund to help with the food emergency right now, to help emergency food funding going out to community partners across the county. Now, the county executive still needs to sign off on this piece of legislation, and I'm told he will. He's expected to do that. So this would then become ordinance or legislation passed into law here in Milwaukee County. So still waiting for the county exec's signature, but this is a fast-pacing piece of legislation. It was just introduced about 2 days ago, got a hearing this morning, and was passed through committee, and then the county board approved it as well. So that goes out the door once the county exec puts a signature on this piece of legislation.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring up the timeline there, Jason. I feel like sometimes legislation can take months and months and months to pass, not just a few days. I think it really speaks to the need for this funding here in Milwaukee County. I'm curious, once we get the county exec's signature, how long will it take for this money to start being distributed, and what kind of an impact will $150,000 have?
Yeah, I mean, it's one county supervisor who supported this legislation said, and it was actually passed unanimously, so every single member of the county board did approve this today. It's a small amount. $150,000 is a small amount when you're looking at the fact that some 700,000 people across the state of Wisconsin receive SNAP. That's a program that's often called food stamps. In Wisconsin, it's known as food share, and about 700,000 people roughly receive this benefit every single month. And so this $150,000 is going to be a start, but obviously not going to fill all of the void here. We're seeing the food pantries really being inundated with demand right now. I visited the Jewish Community Pantry, which is a ministry of the Jewish Community Center, and they've seen a doubling of people stopping by in need of food assistance in the last week. So normally on a Tuesday, they would have seen about 50 people. And last week, ahead of the SNAP money running out, they said that number doubled to about 100 people last Tuesday.
I'll say, Jason, you have had the chance to talk to a lot of people who rely on these funds and these resources and these programs to put food on the table. You say a lot of people are speaking out. $150,000 isn't a ton of money, but I'm sure those who rely on these programs are grateful. What do you think, based off the people you've spoken to the past few weeks?
Yeah, I spoke with one woman this morning who is a SNAP recipient. She's taking care of grandchildren in Milwaukee. And she says without the food pantries, she would not have food on her table for her and her grandchildren. Also needs diapers and things like that. So she said because of the food pantry, because of that support from she particularly was going to the Jewish Community Center, the Jewish Community Food Bank, she said that really helped keep her going. And she was asking people if they had the ability and they could to make a donation to donate to these different organizations who right now are filling the gap with the SNAP money running out, or at least delayed going out the door.
I know last time we talked, we were talking more about the Trump administration and the contingency funds and that element of funding SNAP. And there was a little bit of confusion based on some comments he had made about, not funding SNAP until the government shutdown ended. But then that was, oh no, that's coming after November, not right now. What's the latest? Has money hit any of the accounts for those who are SNAP recipients? Do you know?
Yeah, the one woman I spoke with today, or the woman I just kept mentioning earlier, she was supposed to get her. So in Wisconsin, the money goes out on different days. So depending on it's a complicated distribution process. But long story short is she usually gets her money on the 5th of the month. Now here we are on the 6th. She did not get that money. So we're still waiting. As you mentioned, the Trump administration says to fully fund the SNAP program for the whole country for 1 month, it's $8 billion up to a little bit less than $9 billion to fully fund this. They said that contingency emergency fund only had $5 billion, so there's a shortage there. So they said for this month of November during the government shutdown, they were only going to be sending out a partial payment. People would be receiving about 50% of their normal monthly allotment. So people still, if they do get this money, now it could take weeks to be able to get that money on people's cards. They get a special card that they use for the food assistance program. It could take weeks, could take longer. We're still trying to get answers on exactly when that money is going to go out the door, that partial 50% payment.
Yeah, you talk about how it could take weeks. That's why even every dollar really does count and does matter when you're talking about 150,000 there. Jason, I know I ask you this often when you join us on the Wisconsin Live Desk, but I think it's important. So if anybody right now is watching us and they are struggling to put food on the table, can you remind us what resources are available here in the Milwaukee area?
So there are a number of food pantries. Really, there are a number of churches and faith-based enterprises that are right now helping fill the void here. So, for example,
Was he in the draft? I don't know how this works. Also, I thought he said it was year 16, and the math isn't mathing there. But you love doing true. You like never do. I'm gonna go false.
This one is false. He was the 15th pick.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, those other 14 teams have regrets. Somebody's talking to Delaney right now. They always do this right during question of the day.
I know.
Imagine passing up Giannis.
Right?
Yeah. Well, I'm proud of myself. I crushed that as an up-and-coming Bucks fan myself, clearly. I'm a good one so far. I was going to say, I bet you those teams who passed up Giannis feel the way that I feel, because the Bears could have drafted Pat Mahomes, and we did not. We left him, and we went for somebody we don't even have anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that happens.
I know how that feels.
Yeah.
All right, I think that really quickly, do you have your prop from earlier today?
I do.
Starbucks holiday drinks are back because the holiday season is kicking off. So I think we should take a quick break, because then we're going to learn how one city is really getting into the holiday spirit starting tonight.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, it's a plan. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. It is Haley checking in here at 2:18, meaning we've got just about 10 minutes left together, you and I. But then Mary Stoker-Smith's coming in. She'll get you covered all the way to 3:30 here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. And of course, here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, we love to take you places local, where things are happening live in the moment. And it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas in West Bend. So I say we head out there. We're joined right now with Mayor Joel Ongert. You guys have your annual tree lighting ceremony tonight. What can we expect from this?
Yeah, welcome to downtown West Bend. We kick off the holiday season tonight. We're going to light the big Christmas tree. This Christmas tree rivals the tree in front of the Fiserv Forum. We've got all of our Christmas decorations ready to go. Festivities start at 5:30 with music and performance, and then we light the switch, turn the switch on at 6:30 to kick off the season downtown West Bend.
You know, I am a huge fan of starting to celebrate Christmas as soon as November 1st hits. I'm getting the vibe West Bend is on the same kind of vibe. But what do you have to say to people who think it's too early for a tree lighting ceremony?
You know, some people say it's too early, but then come January when it's time to take the tree down, people get upset that we're taking the tree down. So it's never too early. We have an awesome downtown, great businesses downtown, and we just invite all of your viewers to come visit us and shop and dine in West Bend. We've got another real special treat tonight. Our Bend Theater is showing the classic movie A Christmas Story. And I want to invite a couple of my rascal buddies to your viewers. If you recognize these guys, we got Scott Farkas over here and Grover Dill. Excited to have them be a part of our kickoff here tonight in West Bend.
It's going to be a good time.
Yes, of course.
We're handing out snowball sandwiches.
I think all of our viewers can recognize them from A Christmas Story. I don't think they can hear us, so I was wondering, can you ask a quick question of them for us? What does it feel like for them to be a part of, I'm sure, a Christmas tradition year after year for families watching A Christmas Story?
Yeah, so she's asking, you guys have been a part of this Christmas Story for decades now. Can you kind of talk about what it means to you to be a part of such an iconic movie, but also the season?
It's special to be a tradition in your home. That's what I think is really important. This is a family tradition nowadays.
Yeah, we've grown up with everybody in America, and they treat us like long lost relatives. So it's kind of a slice of magic.
We got Hollywood right here in West Bend with Zach Ward, Yano Anaya, and again, it's awesome to have them here.
Yeah, absolutely. They don't play the nicest people in A Christmas Story, so I've got to ask you, Joel, are they nicer in real life?
Are they nicer in real life is the question.
Nope. Not at all.
Not at all, right?
Take your lunch money, buddy.
I actually just watched the movie again just this week in preparation for them to be here. Was a little intimidated when I met you this morning, but they are wonderful, and our community is really enjoying having them here in town.
Yeah, absolutely. And for our viewers who are watching who are maybe jealous of you right now because they want to meet Zach and Yano, they can come out and meet them, right? They're going to sign some autographs?
Yeah, they are in town. They will be at the tree lighting ceremony tonight. The Christmas Story playing tonight at the theater is sold out. But if you come join us tonight, again, 5:30 is when everything kicks off. Hopefully you'll be able to meet them and maybe get a picture with them or get autograph, something like that. But we are thrilled that the movie sold out. It sold out immediately when Sean from the Bend announced it and arranged to have these guys here. So it's going to be a great night. We usually have 5,000 or 6,000 people come to West Bend for this Christmas tree lighting.
Wow, such a tradition. That's so exciting. Yeah. Did I hear that the big man himself might also be coming down, Santa Claus?
Yep, Santa and Mrs. Claus will be here, and we've got one of our local professional photographers taking pictures with Mr. and Mrs. Claus, so it'll be a lot of fun. Great night.
I feel like this might be like asking you to pick a favorite child, but do you have a favorite part of the tree lighting ceremony that people just cannot miss?
You know, you mentioned a child. We actually work with our school district to bring in a youngster to help us light the tree. So that's probably my favorite part. We have a young gal named Raylan from Silverbrook Intermediate School who's going to help us tonight. And just to see, you know, a youngster's face light up, to be a part of it in front of the big crowd is always a big favorite of mine, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure that's a moment they never forget, getting to help light the tree in front of so many people and really kick off the holiday season. Well, we appreciate you guys stopping in here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, and we will make our way to West Bend 5:30 tonight.
Come visit us throughout the whole season, and again, thanks for having us on. We'll continue to hang out with these guys, and won't cause too much trouble today.
I love it. So cool to have them in West Bend. A total holiday tradition there in A Christmas Story. So make your way out to West Bend. Thanks, guys. How fun was that here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, having Hollywood on Wisconsin Live Desk? Things got wild there for a second. Delaney, have you watched A Christmas Story? I feel like obviously you must have.
I have. I haven't seen it in a while, though, so I think I need to watch it again.
I think it's one of those movies that even if you haven't watched it in like 5-10 years, you can still quote it. That's what I find for myself.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's such a good one.
It is.
I love that they're here in West Bend, and I love that I'm sure they're nicer than they are in that movie. They play the bullies.
Oh, definitely.
Do you have a favorite Christmas movie?
Ooh, I like The Grinch. I really like Elf. I don't know. There's a lot of good Christmas movies.
There are. I feel like A Christmas Story
It's hard to pick.
Is one you just put on every year.
Definitely.
I think Christmas with the Cranks is maybe my favorite. Have you ever watched that?
I have not.
Jamie Lee Curtis, Tim Allen. Highly recommend.
I'll have to check it out.
We'll have a movie night.
Definitely.
I think I own it. I'll have you over.
All right.
All right. I think we take a quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, and then we figure out some fun things before Mary takes over.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey guys, welcome back into the Wisconsin Live Desk. Not gonna lie, this hour has flown by, probably because we had so much fun stuff to go to and to talk about. Of course, I'm just glad that TVV is proud of my fantasy football league. I'm officially in second place, so I just gotta knock down that girl in first, and then Delaney and I are gonna have our pizza party, which I think Delaney TVV is now invited. That's the vibe I'm getting.
I think so.
Yeah.
He's definitely invited.
I definitely
We'll
think
have to
so.
do it on a Packers Wednesday.
On a Packers Wednesday. Well, maybe not, because then he would not be here, you know?
True.
We'll do it on another day that TVV can join us. I did want to take a quick live look outside, where honestly it's 52 degrees, which feels warmer than I was expecting. I had my heavy winter coat on when I went out to get Delaney and I some Starbucks and didn't really need it. So it is nice right now, but the mornings are already starting to get very cold. There is still the potential for the first snowfall this weekend. So I just want to remind you guys again about our Coats for Kids drive, which is underway right now. It goes all the way through December 7th. But this is a really good opportunity to help out our community. In addition to, we're seeing the generosity with these, food collection sites, as Jason Calvi was just saying. We also know that you guys can be generous when it comes to our FOX6 Coats for Kids drive. We've seen it the last 40 years, because we are now in year 41. So just a quick reminder, if you have a new winter coat or a gently loved winter coat, we are accepting those donations. You can donate them at the Milwaukee area locations of Steinhoffels, at any Landmark Credit Union, as well as any Salvation Army Church or Salvation Army Distribution Center. You also can donate to all of those spots brand new winter gear, as far as scarves and hats and mittens. Those accessories do need to be new in order to be donated. But I also just want to remind you that if you don't have an extra winter coat lying around that you can donate, you can still participate in this with a monetary donation. Just scan that code right there, that QR code on your screen, or head to fox6now.com. Every $25 you donate, we get to work with Operation Warm to buy a brand new coat at a huge deal. These would retail for $61, and we get to buy them for $25. So $100 buys 4 coats for kids in need. And again, kids, they grow fast. So I'm sure there's a mom maybe going to the closet, pulling pulling out a coat that worked for her child last year that just isn't going to fit them anymore. That's why we want to keep this drive going and help our community as they grow and as these winters come back, because here in Wisconsin, my oh my, it gets cold, and I'm always extremely grateful that I have, you know, the winter boots, and I have the scarves and the gloves and the hats and the coat. But I also realize that I'm fortunate enough that I don't have to think about, do I have that in my closet? I know it's there, but there are families who are in need of that for their kids. And it's so cool the way the Salvation Army sets up the coats kind of sites when you can go and collect them. They make it look like a store. They have all the sizes organized so that a child can go and pick out the one that speaks to them, whether that be a specific design or a color, because it really does show that when they have a coat they love, not only are they warm, but they get to go to school confident in what they're wearing, which just translates so well to how they do in school and in all of those classes. So I just want to remind you guys really quickly about that Coats for Kids drive. It's my first time getting to do it here in Milwaukee with all of you guys, and I've been blown away by the generosity, how quickly you guys have stepped in to donate and to help. I'm actually going to quickly see what we're at as far as monetary donations. Oh, we are at a new number that I did not know. Delaney, any guesses?
Are we close to 3,000?
Are we close? We've passed it. We
Really?
are at $3,523, which is amazing. We do have a goal of $60,000, which is because I think last year, if I remember right, they raised $55,000. So we just want to do a little bit better than last year. But really the goal, Delaney, as I was asking the Salvation Army, you know, is there a number of coats that you're looking for? They said, I don't want to put a number on it. Our goal is that every child who needs a coat has one, which I think is a good reminder too.
That is.
Good perspective there. All right, I'm going to throw it up one more time because I want to see this number go up a little bit higher. So if you need that QR code, it's right there. Or if you're on your computer, you see how fast I pulled that up? I just went to FOX6Now.com, right on our homepage at the very top. Awkward because it's like right next to Delaney and I on the home page because Wisconsin Live Desk is right there right now. There's a little button though that says click here to donate now. So just go there. $3,500. We're in week one. You've got till December 7th. And we actually are going to get to talk to a major with the Salvation Army on Monday here on the Wisconsin Live Desk to talk a little bit more about that need and how we can help. But Delaney, I know the need is really big in the community this year. They've already actually given out 1,000 coats.
Really?
Yeah, they had their first kind of collection day, or maybe distribution days, the better term, on a Friday and a Saturday, and right away all of the slots got filled. And yeah, they've already given out 1,000. So we know the need is here this winter. So if we could donate, that is always amazing to help out those in need here in our community. You've been here before, Delaney. Have you been surprised, or maybe you love to see how the community steps up in this moment with this drive?
It's always fun to see the community step up.
Yes, I just think, you know, especially when we talk about the government shutdown and SNAP, I think those are moments where things get hard and you could focus on how hard things are, or you could be like, I love how the community is stepping up and helping one another and being there for their neighbors. And I feel like a good coat drive always reminds you of the good in humanity.
It does.
Yeah, so make sure and get those donations in. Delaney, I hate to say goodbye to you, but I think it's time.
Yeah, is Mary there?
Mary Stoker-Smith is in the room. Hello. She's ready to take over. Yeah. She's excited, I can tell. Maybe she'll talk about Buddy Check 6, because I haven't done that yet, and it's November 6th. So she'll get you guys covered on that. I'm actually off tomorrow. So I'll see you guys back here in the Wisconsin Live Desk on Monday. But thanks for hanging out. Mary will be back on the other side in 4 minutes. Stay with us. She's excited.
Yeah. Love you.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Everybody, welcome to the Wisconsin Live Desk. I am Mary Stoker-Smith coming at you on this delightful, absolutely delightful Thursday afternoon. I feel like I sound a little hollow. Do I there, Delaney? Yeah, I think I have. Yeah, I think we got some mic issues, but anyway, yeah, I feel a little hollow and a little wind blowing. How about that? It's a beautiful windy day out there, but it seems, as you can feel it, like, yeah, something is in the air. Things are changing. We're going to take a quick break and get this mic issue figured out, but then we're going to talk to you about a very important event happening today, the 6th, and we're going to talk to you about a very important event happening in the next couple days. You don't want to miss it. It's life-changing, and I mean it. It really is. So we're going to take a quick break and come back with those important details. Plus, of course, your forecast, because things are changing in that department as well. So keep it right here. Take a quick break. We'll be right back.
The Wisconsin Live Desk.
Welcome back, everybody. Mary Stoker-Smith coming at you at the Wisconsin Live Desk. I sound much better, don't I? Yeah, I took a lozenge. No, I got the right microphone on. We have two microphones here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Full disclosure, and I don't want my necklace to rub against the mic, but the reason we do that is because we have a lot of guests, as you've been seeing, and so we can actually have a guest in this room. And at some point, we'll bring that to you. We have a very important and a very distinguished and an honorable guest today. She is not in the room, but we're going to be introducing you to her in just a moment. But first, I do want to tell you it is Buddy Check 6, and I have a very close tie to this month's event. You can see there, if you don't have a buddy, it is not too late to get one. Please do this for me today. Just do one thing for me today. Get one of us on your team. Doesn't matter who it is. I'd love to have you along. Donovan's a nice fellow. Nicola is delightful. Kim, of course, is the queen. Derica, another delightful human being. And oh yeah, that guy in the end, I kind of like him too, Ted Perry. If you go ahead and you sign up for Buddy Check 6, you're going to get a reminder from us on the 6th of every month to do your self-exam if you haven't scheduled your mammogram, because it's all about early detection. And the reason that I said this month was particularly important was because last month we had our Making Strides Against Breast Cancer walk at the Summerfest grounds. It was on Saturday. October 11th, and it was a record turnout. It was an exciting day, it was an emotional day, and it was an enthusiastic day. Those are the 3 E's that I will use. I can't tell you how full my heart was to see so many repeat walkers and making striders, if you will, return, because this is an event that really has become so close to our heart and really like a family gathering. And it was so neat to see women who have been diagnosed with breast cancer fighting a good fight and coming back, having support with their family members, their husbands, and men too. Men can get breast cancer. That's why we have Donovan and Ted along. So thank you all for coming out for that event. On the note that I sent out this month, I sent pictures. I took a lot of selfies with people, and we just want you along for this ride because we have other events going on through the year. So please join our team, and let's get at this insidious disease, find a cure, raise money for the American Cancer Society, because the research, the rides to the mammograms, and all of the doctors and medicines, they fund that. So again, I just wanted to point that out. Thank you all for coming. Really appreciate it. So we'll continue to talk breast cancer, of course, as the months go on, because we don't just get a month for it. It's a year-long fight. But what we want to do right now is try to fight to help the people hit by Hurricane Melissa, and that's the distinguished guest that I was talking to you about. We saw this Cat 5 hurricane barrel through Jamaica. It was so incredible to watch the images, to see the people who were boots on the ground helping people. And as you can imagine, though, we see that and then we don't hear anything. What's going on? Well, I'll tell you what's going on. The cleanup is still going on. We're going to bring in now Carolyn Anderson right now, a friend of Fox 6. You may have seen her quite a bit on our videos throughout the years. And then we did a story with her a couple weeks ago, right when this hit. Bria Jones talked to her and her family. I'm just going to bring you full on there, Caroline. So good to see you. You look lovely. Welcome here to the Wisconsin Live Desk. Your first visit here, but hopefully not your last. For people who didn't see Bria's story, and get them caught up to speed, because she really did a nuts and bolts of how you directly were impacted by Hurricane Melissa, even though you're here in Milwaukee.
Right, correct. So I was born there actually, and migrated as a child to Florida and then to Wisconsin. So I've been a Wisconsinite forever. And so I heard about the hurricane that was heading there, but it wasn't initially going to the area in which my family reside. It was going more towards the eastern end, which is like Kingston, Jamaica. So it was not a great like threat or fear, because there is a lot of mountains on that area of the island. So we figured that it would just kind of die down. I've been a part of a hurricane before, a Category 4, very earlier on as a child in Jamaica. So we are familiar with, the winds and the eye and all those things. However, the Hurricane Melissa decided to have a change of heart and actually turned and attacked, or not attacked, but came in from the end where my family actually is. And the guests that we interviewed and Bria interviewed that were stuck in that western part of the island. And so I was watching Fox, so I saw the story and I'm like, oh my God, I know exactly where she's staying, because I've hosted events there. And my sister-in-law works at the hotel. She's the CFO. So I'm like, oh my God, I got to get a hold of the family. I got to get a hold of Fox. I need to make sure that they're calm and just, really relaxed, because when you're in a foreign country, it was their first time out of the country. We're so excited that they decided to choose to go to Jamaica. And when you're there, there's a hurricane. You don't know anyone. There's a fear that kicks in, and there's a trust issue. So I wanted to get in touch with them to let them know that, it's going to be okay. Jamaicans are very resilient, and that I'm here, and I'm gonna bring her home.
Yeah, you're talking about the triplet, the
Correct.
the couple that was honeymooning. Exactly.
Yeah.
And like you said, you've been through this, and it doesn't make it any less scary. But for people who haven't, we see tornadoes here, as you know, in Wisconsin. We see severe weather. That's a whole nother level. And so for people to experience that, it's really almost traumatizing. I'm quite sure it probably was for you your first time.
Absolutely, it was, but it is still traumatizing for that family, for the triplets. And there were other tourists there, but it is even more traumatizing for those that are there. And after I saw the news, I realized my mom is in Jamaica and I can't find her. And she's at the area where it's hit the most. And
So you
so
no,
my brothers were
you
there as well.
you still
Yeah.
can't find her.
I didn't find her. So yes, I
Yeah.
still haven't spoken to my mother,
Okay.
but I have spoken to my brother who said the ocean came over the home. It flooded. She's alive. That was just yesterday. But there is no food, no water, no electricity, no Wi-Fi. So that's why what it's been a week. Today is the eighth day, and so ninth actually. And so I know she's alive, but now it is the recovery. The reason why I couldn't get in touch with her is the roads in that area, the power lines are all down. So even the U.S. military, I'm a veteran. Even the military went to Jamaica and they're there, but they can't get to certain areas, which is one of the areas where my family is.
Right. That's what I wanted to ask you about because I know when we had
Mhm.
talked previously, you said you still haven't been able to talk to your mom. I am so glad to hear that she's okay and she's got your
Correct.
brother there. But again, that is
Yeah.
daunting because those are the things that we don't necessarily hear about in the aftermath. Even if you try to get to that area, they're hard to penetrate, as you said, because of the
Mhm.
difficulty with the debris. So right now, to your knowledge, people, at least in the area that you're from, Jamaica, they're still
Mhm.
without electricity, water, Wi-Fi, correct?
Yes, no power. So absolutely. And the homes are still destroyed. So unlike, so I remember during Katrina for New Orleans, because even though it's not an island, it has a lot of water. The Superdome, where the Saints play, was the shelter. So Jamaica does not have a sheltered Superdome kind of place. So the churches where normally some people go, their roofs are gone, right? So the problem is all you have is your home or your neighbor's home. I know a lot of people were in my home because we have a cement kind of roof and not like shingles. So that was good to know. But yeah, there is no running water, there is no electricity, and there is no food. So there is no food in maybe a 3 to 4 hour proximity
Mm.
because Montego Bay, which is one of the main cities, the airport is closed. So the flights can't even go there to bring food supply. So yeah,
Imagine we get a snowstorm. Let's put this in perspective here in southeastern
right.
Wisconsin, and it's headed to the store for bread and milk and water. And you know, I pack a bag for work every day, and in that bag,
Hmm.
I've got just in case you know something happens, I have protein bars. I mean, you know what I mean. This is for a day. That's why I'm trying to
Correct.
put
Yeah.
like think of our lives. And now think about this: how many days has it been
Hmm.
since Melissa left
Right.
town that they're still without
Correct.
the absolute human essentials to carry on.
Absolutely.
It's unconscionable. I can't. What has your brother given you any idea of how they're coping and people, him and people around him, like how are they getting through?
They are just waiting because he um he just had like someone allowed him to use a hotspot. That's how he was able to connect to me. I called the same Grand Palladium resort and I told my sister-in-law, could you get a hold? I need to speak to my brother. I need someone there because the Palladium has generators and they have Wi-Fi because it's a resort. It's the second largest resort in Jamaica. So they were able to get a hold of him, but he said there is no food. There is nothing within the proximity. No one can get to them. So then I decided that I have to do something. So that is why I already had a nonprofit organization because I've done several events, which some of them has been featured on Fox, like pillow drives and help for the homeless and the vets and a lot of things that I've done in the community. So that organization has been around for over 15 years. Now we're mobilizing it. It's so Jamaica is when you send mail to Jamaica, it's Jamaica WI. So Jamaica West Indies. So I almost feel like there's a direct connection because Wisconsin is WI. So I'm playing off of the whole acronym to say we are helping to connect the dots and to bridge the gap because there's actually several Jamaicans in southeastern Wisconsin. It's a whole community
Yeah.
that's here. So we're doing a fundraiser.
Yeah, we talked to people here who, had interest there and have family, and yeah, there are
Mhm,
quite a few
mhm.
people. Give us the specifics then, and take us through this fundraiser that you're doing here, and this is going on. It's Menominee Falls, correct?
Correct, correct. So in Menominee Falls, we are gathering these barrels. It's these containers that you can ship to Jamaica. However, I learned today that there are no flights and or ability to be able to ship from Wisconsin and or Chicago to Jamaica. So we've changed it to is just donations. And I will be flying to Miami and then packing the containers there. And I'm going to go live and do so everyone can see the whole process. And the only place that shipment is being allowed to Jamaica right now is from Miami. So that is the change that we had to tweak and made. So those who had given items already, what we did was just gave them to the local pantry because we can't take those with us. Some of the canned goods I packed in my luggage because I'm flying Southwest. There's a plug for Southwest. I have two free luggages right now, but that may be changing. So I do have some of the canned goods that are here. But yes, on our website, which we can lifetc.org, is the Life Transformation Center where we're collecting monetary donations and will show, which is a 501c3 IRS registered organization. And that's another thing. There's a lot of scammed websites out there. So those who are listening to our local viewers here on Fox and nationwide, please check the irs.gov website to ensure that you are giving to a credible and a registered organization. You will see Life Transformation Center, Milwaukee, Wisconsin pop up. That is us. And we are also registered with them. So we'll be collecting, and each donation, you get a tax deductible receipt because we just want to make sure everyone know that we are credible and that we need your help to rebuild a community that's completely destroyed.
Absolutely.
So one life at a time.
Yeah, that's a great saying. Yeah. So again, just tell us, what is there like a deadline, or people want to take action immediately or in the next day or two? Do you have a deadline, and before you head to Miami?
I do have a deadline, so I would like to have all the donations within a week. So the goal is to uh, travel to Jamaica next week, Thursday. Don't remember what date that is, but that's where the flight is scheduled for now. So the donation um, for giving, we put a deadline on it for next week, Wednesday. However, we'd like to just say by this weekend, just so we know what we have and how many of those food items we can get out immediately, because there is absolutely no food. And we're also figuring out how we can transport also water,
Okay.
because there's no water, there's no running drinking water. And the side of the where my family reside, it is an ocean, so they can't really drink the salt water. It's not close to like a river, where in the Caribbean that's fresh water or more spring water. So we're dead smack on the ocean.
Sure. So yeah, this week, as soon
Yeah.
as people can get to that, but next Thursday,
Mhm.
we'll just call it Thursday
Mhm.
the 13th because that's the date.
Yeah.
Is the
Uh-huh.
deadline, and then you'll head to Milwaukee, ship it, or to Miami, and ship it
Uh-huh.
out, and then hopefully, it'll get
Yeah.
there. But wow, that's a
Yeah.
tremendous undertaking that
Yeah.
you've done.
Right. We're recording the entire journey because people, we do this all the time. I love transparency. And so people need to see, getting on the plane, the barrels being packed, them being shipped, and them being received.
How can people see that? Because you said you're going to be recording it, and I know I used to see you go on Facebook. Do you have a YouTube channel, or how can people, if they
I
want to
do.
be
I
part of
do.
this?
I have YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We're going all across the all platforms.
Okay.
Um, we're on X. I am actually connected with the Jamaican government,
Okay.
the Prime Minister on X, on Twitter, and Instagram, and he is aware of it because I'm not just doing food. I neglected to mention this. So I am an actual physician. We're getting medical tents and also mental health sessions, but we know right now the necessity is food, basic needs, food, shelter, clothing. And then in the coming weeks, I will be deploying a team as well to provide medical care, mental health care, because the post-traumatic stress disorder will kick in later.
Oh,
Right now, the
absolutely.
brain is in survival mode. Can I
Survival.
just get something to drink and eat? Yeah. And so
Absolutely.
we're going down to take care of the basic needs, but staying to help with the medical and the post-traumatic needs as
Okay.
well.
Can they
So we'll
just,
be having tents.
that'll be wonderful. Can they just type your name and
Yeah.
like for the YouTube page and then for, to donate, like give us the actual, make it easy, especially for people who are not
Sure.
technologically savvy. Like,
Correct. So actually, if they go to I am Dr. Carolyn, so I am drcarolyn.com,
okay.
all the channels are there. So my Instagram is I am Dr. Carolyn one, because I'm the only one.
Yeah, I am Dr. Carolyn. We got to
Right,
remember that.
exactly.
Oh,
And then X or Twitter is I am Dr. Carolyn. And then Instagram is the same thing, but with a one at the end. And so is my Facebook page. I am Dr. Carolyn one. My name is spelled Carolyn, not Line.
okay.
And so, yes. And so the website for the donations is which is transformationcenter.org. There we also have all the distribution and social spaces
Okay.
where we'll be going live and showing and doing videos and clippings. We have a system where we just do one video and it goes out to all those social media platforms. Yeah.
Wonderful. Oh, it's just tremendous. You've done such great work. We really appreciate it. So again, we want people to jump on board. We really appreciate you really covered every aspect. I got to be honest with you, when I saw this and I was just doing a little prep, I'm a huge mental health awareness girl, if you will. I'm an advocate for that. And I didn't even think about that because right now, all I could think about is the day-to-day, as you said, getting the water, getting the food. But that's got to come down the road. As I mentioned, the trauma, it's got to be, you got to still touch
It
on it.
is going to be huge.
Yeah.
Because we already have people who are just hopeless.
Yes.
And we have those who said, because there's no school. So no school is in session. There's nothing. There's zero activity. And all you're seeing is the debris. The mental fallout from that is in correlation to like COVID. So here's a caveat, Mary. My basement was flooded August 10th. So I am literally still in the getting things together phase. So that water never stopped. And I'm in the United States and we lost power, but we Energies brought that back in like 2 days. I can just imagine no power, no food, nothing. You're staying on a concrete. Some people have no homes. They're just sleeping and seeing the stars. And again, psychologically, that is almost a permanent imprint where you have no photos, no school supplies, and most homes have at least 3 children
Well,
in Jamaica.
and medicine, medicine for not only the adults, but if kids need medicine, I have asthma, for example. Yeah,
Correct.
Where's
Correct.
the inhaler? You know what I'm saying? Like the
Right.
survival. So there's so much to
Absolutely.
think about.
Absolutely. Yeah. The mental health tent is going to be really key, because we're going to be designing it where it's serene, because Jamaica is a beautiful, it's an island, so they normally are pretty. But right now, seeing it's in a state of destruction. So we wanted to get the food down and everything, and then get the tent. And we are getting also part of the donation will be getting the Starlink Wi-Fi system, because that works in Jamaica during this time frame. There's only two Wi-Fi system in Jamaica, and they're down. One is kind of up, but everyone is using a satellite. So we're getting the Starlink satellites, generators to power it. And it's going to be around the clock, like 24/7, different shifts for providing mental health and emotional health support. And so we want to thank everyone that's watching. Again, thank you so much, Mary. Thank you to Fox, who your interest has always been in the people, right? The community and what we stand for. It's more than news, it's family.
Thank
So
you. Oh, well, that's so kind of you to say. Boy, welcome back. Welcome in anytime. And as I said, we can have you here in the studio. So
right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Yeah.
just take a light moment here because we've had such a heavy topic. Two divas in this room. Can it hold it? Oh,
Right?
I think it can. We're going to put like a disco globe over there. This.
Oh my God, I know. We'll be too hot to handle.
We would. We'd be color coordinating. What you gonna wear?
I know. Ted will be rolling his eyes.
I know, right? Right. Oh,
Yeah.
Dr.
This is
Carolyn,
awesome.
it would be great. Dr. Carolyn Anderson, thank you for your
Absolutely.
insight, for what you're doing in the community. We will be checking in, make sure that send pictures, whatever. But
Yes.
we'll be sure to be looking for an update because our hearts are with those people, not only your family, but the people of Jamaica, hardworking,
Yeah.
honest people.
Yes.
And so many people who have traveled there for
Yeah.
vacation are saying, oh, I had
Yes.
such good memories. And I've always heard about, yes, it's beautiful, but the thing
Yeah.
you hear about the most is the hospitality when people
Yes.
leave that island. And so
Yes.
that's the key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a one love. We take Bob Marley, one of the greatest legends in the music world.
Yes.
That's his country. I'm sure he's looking down. But yeah, we operate on one love and unity. And I went to the post office to kind of stop my mail, and the lady was like, "Oh my God, what? Give me the website. The whole post office is behind you. We're here. I've been to Jamaica, like she was like 10 times. I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe more than me." So yeah, so there's a lot of people that it's their second home that are Americans. And so yeah, we're just really excited. Again, great Wisconsin community here. There's a church, there is like a cricket club, restaurants and things. That is a huge Jamaican community that we're like just coming together as one as we continue this one love. And again, thank you, Fox, for just covering the story.
Oh, absolutely. It's just been, I don't want to say our pleasure in that kind of way, but I mean, it's been just fulfilling to see the efforts that are going on there. So with you.
Wonderful.
So thank you. Keep us posted.
All right.
And
Okay.
before I leave you, happy Veterans Day to a veteran. Veterans Day coming up on Tuesday, November
Yes.
11th, the parade this weekend.
Yeah.
It's changed locations. We're going to give everybody information on that. But happy Veterans Day to you, and thank you for all of the service that you have provided and all that you do. We'll be seeing you again.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay,
You bet.
thank you so
You
much.
bet.
Have a
Talk
good day.
soon. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Oh, that was great, wasn't it? Nice to know that there are so many efforts going on there. And you want something done, give it to a veteran. I always say give it to a nurse, teacher, and add a veteran to that. Absolutely. That was inspirational. That was great. We do have information on the Veterans Day Parade because, as I mentioned, it's in a new location, in a new town this year. We're going to have information on that. And also, of course, what we all can't ignore, the ongoing government shutdown now, hitting an historic record on the amount of days that the government has been shut down. Jason Kelvey is looking into SNAP benefits. A lot of you wondering, how long is the delay? When can the benefits come through? What are we going to do? Because as the conversation now comes back here to southeastern Wisconsin, a lot of people rely on those SNAP benefits, over 700,000 here in southeastern Wisconsin, in Wisconsin, to get food on the families to feed their kids. And so that's first and foremost on people's minds right now. We're going to come back with that information, and of course we'll have a check on the weather because that's something else we're keeping our eye on for this weekend, particularly Saturday into the Sunday. I know, just as the weekend hits, right? We got to talk weather, but we'll continue to bring you up to date on that when we come back. We're going to take a quick break and see you on the other side. Keep it right here on Fox Local on this Thursday afternoon. Back in a bit.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. I'm Mary Stoker Smith. Oh, it's an honor and a pleasure to be with you today. It's a great day. It's a great Thursday. The leaves are still on the trees, despite all the wind. The colors are in full force. And as much as I like hot weather, I got to tell you, I won't say this too loud. I kind of like the crisp feel in the air. Not too crisp. It's about to get crispier. We'll come back to that. In the meantime, we do have some important information, though, to give you about a very, very important event, and that is happening this Saturday at a new time and a new place, the Veterans Day Parade. Now, this is, as far as we know, first time this has been in Wauwatosa. It used to be downtown Milwaukee, you'll remember. It's in Wauwatosa, and it's going to step off at 11 o'clock, and that is this Saturday. And this Saturday, of course, is coming up. We always do it before Veterans Day, so it's generally, unless the day happens to hit on that particular day. But so it'll be this Saturday, November 8th at 11 o'clock at Wauwatosa Village. You see there. And this is such an important parade. Why? So many of our veterans are not here to honor anymore, but so many of them are, and they not only need, as we just heard, our physical support, but by being there, but the emotional support to say thank you for your service and all that you have done for our country and for our freedom. We just heard Caroline mention that we're in the United States, and the blanket of freedoms that we are provided in large part are because of our veterans. A great day to get out and say thank you. Ted Perry always goes to this event. He just walked by our little live desk area here, and I said, hey, he's going to the parade this year. He said, I don't care where it is, I'm going. And so it's just so important to show our respect and honor our veterans. We are doing that here as an organization. Here at FOX6 and on Fox, we are doing this Wear Camo on Veterans Day Parade initiative. Going to be on Tuesday, November 11th. And if you wear your camo, we would love to see a photo of you. You can send it to us. Send it to me on my fan page for fox6now.com. You can go on there and find my page. Send me a direct message. You can also use your social media accounts, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X. And just go ahead and do the hashtag #HonorUSVets, because we want to see everybody recognized, and again, throw on some camo. It doesn't matter what it is, a hat, a shirt, a t-shirt, a jacket, all of the above, and make camo your cause. Fox is again doing this again this year. They've done it for many, many years now, and it's just a way to honor our vets and say thank you. We know it's not everything, but it's certainly a way to get the word out, especially to the younger generations, that we need to wear camo and never, ever forget our veterans on this important day coming up this Tuesday, November 11th. If you are headed out to the parade, you got to bundle up. So let's go ahead and bring in, don't shoot the messenger here. I almost feel like the pressure from the weather experts, right? Like we give them a hard time. Well, here we go. I'm just going to rip the bandage off. Bam. There it is. I know, Saturday, look at that, rain and snow. Are you ready? Well, like it or not, here it comes. Let's go to Friday, where at least it'll be 60s. We're going to have some PM rain showers, according to our weather experts in our graphic right there. But then Saturday, yeah, as Tom has mentioned here several times this evening, Chief Meteorologist Tom Walks, and you've heard Rob in the morning, of course, and Stephanie and Lisa and Holly. We are going to be taking a turn. Rain and snow in the evening, and windy with the temperature being 43 degrees. Now, that's kind of tricky. We also have to look at, as you can see there, Sunday, because that's going to impact people with the snow showers. I asked Tom last night, knowing that I was going to be talking to you today, he said there could, emphasize could be some accumulation on that, maybe an inch, at least that's what he was saying last night. Now, we all know how things in southeastern Wisconsin can change, of course, because they can change on a dime. So we don't know exactly if that's going to change, but again, just something to be mindful of, that there could be some accumulation if you're heading out and about on Sunday morning to church or to an event. And then on Monday we get a little bit of sun, and then it seems like we're rebounding back for Veterans Day for 45, of course, and 51 for Wednesday. So by Wednesday it'll be all in the rearview mirror. 51, that'll feel real good, won't it? Especially with the sunshine. But just be prepared if you are headed to the Veterans Day Parade 11 o'clock in the morning. Even though that rain and snow isn't predicted to come until a little later in the day. 43 is a little chilly, so wear your fleece, wear your flannel. In my case, I'd probably take a puffer and just be prepared to be just a little bit chilly. I always have hand warmers. I always carry them with me, too. And so that's something else to think about. But we will keep an eye on that weather. Look for updates on 4, 5, 6, 9, and 10, of course, on our newscast coming up. In the meantime, we are going to take a quick break and talk about the other looming forecast, and that is, when will this government shutdown end? We are in day 37. This is historic number of days we've been in a government shutdown. We surpassed that a couple days ago. And a lot of you are not only, of course, wondering about the workers, and if you may be one of those workers who are one of the essential workers who has to go to work and not get paid. What are they doing? What about the people who are not working? What about places that are closed? And of course, top of mind for so many people, SNAP benefits. Jason Kelby is working on that story for a newscast later today, but we're going to take a closer look at the government shutdown. Is there an end in sight? And what about those SNAP benefits? We'll cover all of that after a quick break right here on Fox Local. Keep it right here. We'll be right back. everybody here at the Wisconsin Live Desk. Hope you're having a great Thursday. I'm Mary Stoker-Smith. Great to have you along on the Wisconsin Live Desk today. We do have so many little nuggets of information coming in all the time about the government shutdown. Just to recap, as we've mentioned and as you know, we're in day 37. That is an all-time high for the government shutdown, day 37 of the government shutdown. Everything that we are seeing at this point, no end in sight. We don't know when this will end. We do know one thing is for certain: people need to eat, people need to work, people need to get paid, right? So as we hit day 37 here, a lot of SNAP recipients are waiting to know when they're going to receive those partial benefits. What do you do in the meantime? You get some help. And the help is coming in the form of food pantries. We have talked to so many people in the community providing food pantries, people who are willing to donate, people who want to get food on the table for so many people. A little bit earlier, we heard from some of our food bank heads to talk about, yes, the need is there and these shelves are stocked, but boy, oh boy, things are flying off the shelves. So right now, what we are looking at, of course, is when those SNAP benefits will be returning, of course, and what's going to happen. In the meantime, as we're looking at news, just any updates that we can, we have learned that a federal judge has ordered the Trump administration to fully fund the SNAP benefits in November by Friday to make sure that those are robust in full. This was a ruling by a U.S. district judge in Rhode Island. And again, in order to the Trump administration to find the money by Friday, tomorrow, to fully fund the SNAP benefits, because so many people, particularly those here, even in southeastern Wisconsin, as we take a look at our gorgeous city here in Milwaukee, just waiting for those benefits to stop being delayed and for them to come through. The USDA said last month the benefits for November wouldn't be paid because the federal government, of course, was shutting down. And that really set off that scurry, if you will, by food banks and by governments for so many people who rely on those food banks. Nearly 42 million Americans who look for ways to feed their families and, of course, help children out who so desperately need that food. Kids got to go to school still. So here in southeastern Wisconsin, they are packing into the food pantries as they await word from our officials, as we take a look at the Capitol as to when this is going to end. And so we are keeping an eye on that too. We have heard from a lot of people in our area saying without the pantry, we wouldn't be able to eat. I mean, these are direct quotes. I tell you, I wouldn't be able to eat. I am surviving because of these food pantries. And a lot of people, we are seeing that again today. Our Jason Calvi, as I had mentioned, talked about when he talked to people there here in Milwaukee, he talked to them about, what are you feeling today? And some of them are saying, I'm just feeling a lot of anxiety, and I really appreciate, what this will do for us, all these food pantries and everything that is going on, all the efforts that are being coordinated to make sure that we get food to people who are in need. So usually the SNAP benefits appear on the 5th of the month, which of course the 5th was yesterday. And so again, without that, it's another day without these benefits that are just so desperately needed. So at this point, we are looking at, when Jason comes to us today with his story, we're looking at talking about the $150,000 in emergency food money that has passed the Milwaukee County Board of Supervisors, having an emergency meeting to get money allocated to help put food on the table with this emergency food aid. So Milwaukee County approving that, $150,000. Now, here's the thing, that's great news, but that's going to only cover so much, and that's why this federal judge is making this push by the Trump administration to get these benefits fully funded, because, again, that money goes real fast, as we know. Sounds like a lot of money, as you know, with emotional support, so it's really important. We're going to keep an eye on that. Of course, the government shutdown now in day 37. We will talk to Jason a little bit later in our newscasts and just keep an eye on things as to where this may be headed, and hopefully, an end in sight. Keep that updated. In the meantime, if you need help feeding your family, if you need help for food, we have all the information on our Fox Local app. Please go to that, download it if you haven't, free download, wonderful application. We also have it on FOX6Now.com. Everything is right here on your fingertips. Speaking of fingertips, we have to take a look at this forecast. We got to end with this. I'm sorry. Yeah, tomorrow is going to be great, and then we rip the rug out, right from under you. So keep those fingertips warm. 43 for Saturday and then 37 for Sunday. To me, the biggest thing looks like these snow showers, because we're not used to this. We're not used to driving in it, and we're not used to bundling up for this. So while some of you may be excited to see the snow and you like the cold, it is an adjustment. We got to get used to that. So there's your 6-day planner. We rebound nicely for Veterans Day on November 11th, which is Tuesday. And then by Wednesday, well, this is all forgotten about. Bright, sunny skies, or at least partly sunny, but 51 degrees is going to feel real good. So if you are out and about this weekend, please take it easy. Remember our veterans, of course, and if you see one, thank them for their service at the Veterans Day Parade. And in the meantime, again, just bundle up, stay warm, and also help people if you can by going to our website, making a monetary donation to help these food banks stay afloat. Been a pleasure to be with you today on this Thursday. I'm Mary Stoker-Smith. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week on Fox Local. In the meantime, we'll see you tonight at 4, 5, 6, 9, and 10. Have a great day.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lou Cadellis at Fox 32 Chicago, and you are watching First and North. Welcome in. Joining me this week on First and North. From Fox 2 in Detroit, Jennifer Hammond is back. From Fox 6 Milwaukee, Lily Zhao back on the show. And from Fox 9 in Minneapolis, Pierre Nugent returns. All right, everyone, NFC North race, man, it has tightened up. Green Bay's a 2-touchdown favorite and loses to Carolina. Huge wake-up call for the Packers, who play the Eagles Monday night. Lions and Bears tied, but Detroit holds the tiebreaker after blowing the Bears' doors off earlier this season. Detroit, though, now 1-2 in the division. Bears, a resilient bunch, a surprising 5-3. Vikings 4-4. They're now 2-0 in the NFC North, and they have the easiest remaining schedule of the 4 teams in the division. All right, we're going to push the trade talk to the next segment. Trade deadline on Tuesday. I want to start with Lily. Lily, Packers lost twice Sunday. Now, before we get into the loss of Tucker Kraft, how do the Packers, 13-point favorites, face plant at home Lambeau Field against Carolina?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, Lou. I think this Packers team is good enough to beat anybody, but they're also good enough to beat themselves, and that's not anything that's really great for Green Bay. Listen, they came out. It was kind of a flat game. I was there on Sunday. There was not a lot of energy. It was gray outside. It just kind of trickled into the game as well. The Packers have had this happen a couple of times in the season where they drive down the field on their opening drive and turn it over. They were 1-5 in the red zone. They could not run the football. On the other end, their defense was getting gashed on the field by Rico Dowdle. And there were just some critical mistakes and some questionable play calling that led to the Packers' demise. And it is just unfortunate because, again, the Packers, there's no such thing as an easy game for Green Bay this season. That's what it is. There are teams that they should beat, and they look awful. They look unprepared. And there are teams that are really good on their schedule, and they play up to their competition. So the Packers are consistently inconsistent, and that's not great saying that going into the middle of the season. So this is something that the Packers were going to have to figure out. They talk about details. They talk about righting the ship. But you got to execute. You got to get, the details have to be a lot better for this team. And we will see if they can turn the page against an Eagles team coming in on Monday.
Yeah, roller coaster in Green Bay, that's for sure. Jennifer, Lions, they were 9.5-point favorites at home against the Vikings, coming off the bye. What happened?
I would say that the Lions perhaps underestimated the Minnesota Vikings. And the Vikings, make no mistake, they came in as a desperate team, and I'm sure Pierre can talk to that even more so. This was a Vikings team that came in, and they knew they had to have this win. They had J.J. McCarthy back, and boy, was he great. He lived up to every bit of his draft status, and he looked like he didn't miss a beat. And I really think the biggest key for the Minnesota Vikings, obviously Brian Flores and that defense, they broke it down perfectly. They knew exactly what they had to do, and they out-schemed the Detroit Lions up front. They've got some weakness on the interior of that offensive line with the 2 young guys and then Graham Glasgow at center. 20 out of 42 dropbacks, Jared Goff was pressured
They sacked him 5 times. He was pressured 20 times. He was hit 11 times. I mean, where does it end? He was just on the run all day long. They couldn't get anything going with the run game. Just 65 yards rushing the Vikings held them to when Detroit came in averaging 148 on the ground in their prior 6 games. So it just shows that if you've got a way to get Detroit off schedule and out of rhythm, and that doesn't even have to do, I didn't even touch on the fact that they converted just 5 of 17 third downs. If you get Detroit off schedule and get them in 2nd and long, 3rd and long, they also beat themselves with some very costly penalties, pre-snap penalties. You can get in their face, you can cause pressure, and you can definitely slow down that high-powered offense.
I'll tell you what, Jen, I hope Bears defensive coordinator Dennis Allen was watching and he steals a page out of that Vikings defense playbook.
I'm sure the whole league was taking notes. That is the way to beat the Detroit Lions offense.
All right, I want to get back to J.J. McCarthy. Made his return on the football field, and you can tell how much it meant to him.
It was awesome. Yeah, just when you're hurt, being on IR last year and being out for 5 weeks, it absolutely kills me not being out there with those guys because I love every single one of them. And, I know they got my back and I got theirs the rest of the way.
J.J. McCarthy, emotional there, Pierre. Then he rubs it in yesterday on Instagram, shares a carousel of photos from the game with the caption, "Kneecaps are intact." Now, why would he take a shot at Dan Campbell like that?
That's a great question, Lou. I mean, listen, I've always been a big believer of the phrase, "to the victor belong the spoil." I don't want to take anything away from him in that regard. But, yeah, I didn't really think it was all that necessary to go after Dan Campbell like that. But, hey, you know what? I'm sure if Dan Campbell were sitting here talking to us right now, he said, hey, if we don't want him to put up stuff like that on social media, we should have tried stopping him in the Vikings offense this past Sunday, which they weren't able to do. And that's a big victory for J.J. McCarthy and this Minnesota Vikings team. And like you saw, J.J. McCarthy very emotional after the game because the Vikings, of course, invested such a high draft pick in him, but he's only played 2 games prior to that game on Sunday against Detroit. But to come back after missing the last 6 weeks, playing in your first game at Ford Field in front of your friends and family in your home state, and to come away with a victory like that, I would have to imagine that's just a huge relief of pressure for J.J. McCarthy because there's so much pressure on this young man to get this team back on the right track. And not only that, but to establish a presence at quarterback for the next decade plus, something this team has not had in quite some time. So especially late in the game, Lou, you saw that late game throw to Jalen Naylor to seal the deal. That throw made me say, wow, that was a darn good throw from J.J. McCarthy with the game on the line to get the job done. And now he's done it twice in the division. Got the job done on the road in Chicago, got the job done on the road in Detroit. That certainly tells me something about this young man.
Yes, we remember here in Chicago, Pierre. Just do me a favor. Pull J.J. aside, tell him he really hasn't done enough yet in the NFL to be poking fun like that at a guy like Dan Campbell. By the way, the Vikings played with the lead for the first time in 4 years in Detroit in that game. All right, we're still catching our breath after Sunday's craziness in Cincinnati here in Chicago. Over 1,000 yards of offense between the Bears and Bengals. And you all have seen more than enough Bears football, so this should not surprise you. The 47 points the Bears scored in that game against the Bengals that they won, they were the most in a game in 7 years for the Bears. And their 576 yards of offense, most in a game in 45 years. Now, I read today where the sleep and melatonin could give you the sleep aid, melatonin, that it could give you a heart failure. I'll tell you what, watching Bears football this season is going to lead to a grabber for someone like me. The finishes in Vegas, Washington, Cincinnati guys, they have all been down to the wire. White knucklers, I like to call them. Ben Johnson has this team believing that they are going to win. He fired out a warning to the remaining teams on the Bears' schedule during his postgame speech. Don't know if you saw it. Johnson said, hey, if it's close in the fourth quarter, you better watch out. You better be listening, Lions, Vikings, and Packers. And speaking of the Packers, how about this, Lily? The second big Packers loss on Sunday. And It crushed me selfishly because I had him on my fantasy team. Tight end Tucker Kraft. He was Jordan Love's favorite target.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. I mean, a great human being. And I mean, he loves just the media, but he loves football even more. And so it was just crushing to see him coming a week after National Tight Ends Day, where he had one of the best games that he's ever had in a Packers uniform, showing out in Pittsburgh, playing as well as he has. And then he tears his ACL on Sunday against in front of a home crowd also too, and it was just not a good Sunday for Green Bay. But I think the loss of Tucker Kraft is more than the loss of that game. I mean, it was just, he's a guy you cannot replace. He is explosive on the offense. He's a great leader in the locker room. He's a guy that brings it every single play. So he's not somebody that you can replace on either side. But the Packers will need to do that moving forward. So a crushing blow for Tucker Kraft, who I think should be in the conversation for one of the best tight ends this year, but unfortunately his season is now cut short. You see what he's been able to do in the NFL. He was one of the top guys for the Packers offensively in a lot of categories as well, so they're losing a lot of production, a lot of yak without Tucker Kraft this season. So just a devastating blow for Green Bay and also for Kraft.
All right, I wanted everyone to hear what had happened in the Packers locker room, because the loss really hit that Packers locker room hard. Check this out.
I know who he is for this team and what he means to this team, and that's a heavy blow for us. A lot of the guys, even in the locker room and even in the huddle afterwards, we felt that, and he's a leader on this team. He's a captain, and he's one of those guys that you really love to have on your team. So that's a heavy blow for us.
Yeah, his teammates definitely respect what he's done on the football field. Jen, I want to go back to you. Lions have not lost 2 straight games, and tell me if I'm wrong, since 2022 under Dan Campbell, correct?
That is correct. It's been an incredible stretch.
Is Campbell a madman this week to make sure it does not happen against Washington?
Yeah, and I think even more so, Lou, is not that they don't want to suffer 2 straight losses, but they just know that they've got to get these games. They've got to start stacking games, especially with the nature of how tight the division has become, with the Bears winning and with the Vikings winning, and now the fact that they're 1-2 against their NFC North opponents. They have very little time to just make up some ground here. Campbell has said it all along. We need to be playing our best football in November, December, and this was kind of a very rough way for them to start the month of November. I do think, though, that obviously going on the road to D.C. to play the Commanders, Washington's going to get their best shot. This is a Lions team that they just don't take losing very well, as most pro athletes don't, but for whatever reason, they have come back strong under Dan Campbell, and I expect much of the same from them again this week.
All right, Bears win was really so important for a number of reasons here locally in Chicago. First, Ben Johnson said that the Bears won a game because of the offense, because of Caleb Williams, and it came against Cincinnati's atrocious defense. So I get it, but no one in this town is apologizing for what happened against Cincinnati's defense. Now, there were a few wins this season that came in spite of the offense this time. It was because of Caleb Williams and the way he led that offense and did the job, especially with that pass at the end to Colston Loveland. Man, it was a laser that he threw to Loveland for the game-winning touchdown. A thing of beauty. And how about this? Williams became the first player in NFL history to throw for at least 275 yards, run for 50 yards, and he caught 2 passes for 20 yards. I mean, it was unreal. Colston Loveland feeling the pressure of coming up, feeling the pressure of keeping up, that is, with Colts tight end Tyler Warren. He had his best game of the season with a couple of touchdown catches. And 7th-round running back Kyle Monangai, man, he had the best day for a Bears running back since the A-Train, Anthony Thomas, back in 2001. We'll talk more about the Bears coming up in the next segment. Boy, things have changed in Minnesota, haven't they? Check this out. Before you jump in, I want you to hear about how the Vikings teammates now love J.J. McCarthy again.
The last one, we are 2-0 in the NFC North. And in both games, I finished handing the football. All right, the last game ball to this guy. It's been a long road back. Nobody wants to be on the grass more than you. But this team will ride with you. All right, ride with
We can't let this shit be an emotional letdown. We got to come back stronger and keep getting getting better in every little detail of every little phase of our game.
Like a dog in the street.
All right, Pierre, I want you to be honest. How does a guy like Justin Jefferson or some of those other teammates, how do they feel about a guy like McCarthy? I get that he played well in the last game, but man, I was watching the body English and just the way the players were looking at him, you know, in his few previous outings, and I didn't see it. Do they really believe in J.J. McCarthy?
Well, that's certainly what they say, and they've said it on a consistent basis, and that's what's key for me. They have been saying on a consistent basis since training camp that J.J. McCarthy is a guy. J.J. McCarthy is the guy that we believe that can lead us to victory on a weekly basis. Now, there were times in that game against Detroit where you saw him airmail simple passes. He threw one right over the head of Justin Jefferson when he was wide open on the sideline. He threw behind Jalen Naylor not once but twice in the game, one of which turned into an interception. So there were still times in that game where I thought to myself, I'm still not seeing it yet from J.J. McCarthy. But as I've been talking to people, you know, throughout the week and last week leading up to his return, if you're looking at J.J. McCarthy like a high school student taking a test, his grade is incomplete. It's only been 3 total games so far, and I don't understand why everybody is in such a rush to either crown him or dump him. I mean, we still don't have enough of a sample size to really know what we have on our hands with J.J. McCarthy. The only stat that matters to me is winning, and as we alluded to earlier in the show, he's found a way to get the job done late in the fourth quarter on the road in divisional games. That certainly counts for something. Now, the numbers are not eye-popping by any means through 3 games, but we have to give this young man some more time and some more runway to develop his game and grow into the quarterback that the Vikings believe he can be.
All right, we'll see if the body language from here on out matches what they're saying inside the locker room. We need to take a timeout. NFL trade deadline ended today. We recap the biggest trades around the NFL and how active was the NFC North. Find out next here on First and North. I'm Luke Canellis at our Fox 32 studios in Chicago, joined by Jennifer Hammond at Fox 2 in Detroit, Lily Zhao, Fox 6 in Milwaukee, and Pierre Nugent, Fox 9 in Minneapolis. All right, NFL trade deadline hit at 3 o'clock. League moved it a week later after Week 9 instead of Week 8 when it used to happen. Tried to get more teams involved. Sure enough, it worked. All 4 teams, by the way, in the NFC North were looking for help. New York Jets, man, they had a fire sale going on. Sauce Gardner goes to the Jets. Quinnen Williams to the Cowboys. Wide receiver Jacoby Myers finally gets the trade he asked for and is now a Jaguar. Rashid Shaheed, he gets moved out of New Orleans to Seattle. Bears needed a pass rusher. They lost defensive end Dayo Odangbo to a season-ending Achilles injury on Sunday. And today they picked up defensive end Joe Tryon Shoinka and a 7th-round pick from the Browns for a 6th-round pick. Bears desperately needed some pass rush help. They ranked 25th in quarterback pressure rate, 18th in sack rate. Only half of their 17 sacks have come from their edge rushers. Tryon Shoinka, he has not lived up to his first-round draft status. He was picked in the first round by Tampa Bay a number of years ago, back in 2021. He had 15 sacks in 4 seasons with Tampa. Signed as a free agent in Cleveland this year and has only played 31 snaps. No sacks, not even a quarterback pressure playing behind Myles Garrett. He'll get his chance with the Bears, that's for sure. All right, let's bring back the crew. Lily, Packers needed help in their defensive secondary. Another cornerback, no deal attractive enough, huh?
Yeah, apparently not. I think that was a big area of need that Green Bay needed to address. I know they were active on their phones, but as of right now, no deal has been made to bring in another cornerback to their roster. And so far, these are guys that have not really kind of changed the game back there for Green Bay, but they also did make some practice moves or practice squad moves without Tucker Kraft, their tight end, lost for the season. They signed a guy with the phenomenal name, McCallan Castles, a tight end to their practice squad. He tried out on Monday, and then they added another receiver, Michael Woods. And so he will be on the practice squad for the Green Bay Packers. So no kind of big splashy moves at the deadline as of yet, but the Packers do add some guys to their practice squad.
Real quickly, they could still sign free agent Asante Samuel, right?
Yes, that could certainly be in play. We'll see if the numbers match up for both ends, if that is a trade that or a move that could be made for Green Bay. But I would say if the numbers are right and both sides agree, I think that would be a great piece for the Packers to add to their secondary.
All right, Jen, I want you to give me a minute because Detroit had a laundry list of needs. Did you think that after the loss to the Vikings and the Eagles making 3 deals that the Lions might work out something, might work out a deal?
Yeah, I think all along, probably in Detroit, the preferred position that people, fans, everyone on the outside wanted Brad Holmes to go shopping for was someone along the defensive line. Get some help for Aiden Hutchinson. Certainly, he is playing very well. He has 7 sacks. That ranks 6th in the National Football League after the game against the Vikings. And as well, Muhammad Al-Quadin Muhammad is at 6 sacks. So they've got 2 guys in the top 11. But then after that game against the Vikings, the fact that they lost 3 offensive linemen at various times. Penei Sewell went out with an injury, came back. Tate Ratledge went out with an injury, came back. Decker went out with an injury, came back. The one who won't be coming back, though, is their young guard, Christian Mahogany. He has a significant leg injury. He will be out until at least late December. So there was a lot of hope and talk that maybe the Lions would go after Kevin Zeitler, a guy that played here last year. He went down, signed with Tennessee for 1 year, $9 million. And so far, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. I don't know if the prices were just too high for what anybody was asking for Brad Holmes, but they may have gone shopping. They just didn't buy anything.
All right. How about Frank Ragnow? Dan Campbell was asked on his radio show if the team would consider bringing back Frank Ragnow out of retirement.
We saw Brandon Graham come out of retirement for the Eagles, and Frank was obviously a beloved member of this team. The fans loved him. Has there been any consideration of giving him a call to see if he'd want to finish out the season?
So here's what I know about Frank. If Frank really wanted to, he would be blowing my phone up, and I haven't gotten a text yet. So I think Frank is feeling good about his decision, and look, they just had another baby, so happy for them. That ship has sailed.
All right, so it doesn't look like Ragnow will be going back home to Detroit either. Pierre, let me bring you in. What's the latest on Aaron Jones and his shoulder? Any opportunities out there for the Vikings right now?
Well, in regard to Aaron Jones, it's been reported, that he suffered an AC joint sprain in that game against the Lions. But Kevin O'Connell, in his Monday press conference yesterday, said that the news was pretty positive regarding Aaron Jones. He did say that he's a little bit sore. He wants to see how he does throughout the rest of the week. And, of course, we're going to get a better impression on Wednesday when the first injury report comes out. But he said it's more positive than negative. So it sounds like it's positive news in the direction of Aaron Jones playing on Sunday.
And no chance of any free agent pickups now that the trade deadline.
It doesn't look likely at this point, Lou, and I know Kevin O'Connell was asked about the backup quarterback situation as well. I think there was some talk about whether or not maybe they might find another signal caller with Carson Wentz going down for the season with injury. But Kevin O'Connell says he's comfortable with Max Brosmer as the backup quarterback. Remember, Max Brosmer was an undrafted free agent out of the University of Minnesota, and he beat out 2 guys in training camp. He was the number 4 quarterback in training camp. He left 2 guys to earn the backup job before they signed Carson Wentz. But it doesn't sound like they're looking for another signal caller right now. I think this is the group they're going to go with the rest of the way.
All right, so O'Connell goes with the rookie instead of making a deal for Kirk Cousins or even Russell Wilson. We need to take our final timeout. We preview Week 10 around the division right after this on First and North. Matchups for Week 10 in the NFC North. Sunday, Bears return home, take on the struggling New York Giants, who have lost their last 10 road games. Vikings look to make it 2 in a row against a healthy Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Lions head to Maryland, take on the Commanders, who will be without Jaden Daniels for the foreseeable future. And then to wrap up Week 10, Packers host the Eagles under the lights on Monday Night Football. Eagles 4-0 coming off the bye week under Nick Sirianni. Packers are in trouble, aren't they, Lily?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, this is an Eagles team that is flying high, and rightfully so. And listen, they struggle to defend the run. But this is a Packers team that, again, rises to the occasion when they do play teams that are good, you know. So we shall see if the Packers can play up to their competition and just not beat themselves in a game that they want to win. And, guys, how many times will we hear the 2 words tush push this week? That's also going to be on our little counter probably in our shows.
Can't wait to see it. Lions have not lost back-to-back games since October 30th of 2022. Jen, no way it happens against Marcus Mariota.
No way it happens this weekend, and I would say that the Detroit Lions will be in first place in the NFC North by this time next week, and it will be because they will respond. They are intentional, they are detail-oriented, they are focused, and they get a chip on their shoulder when they lose. Dan Campbell won't let it be the first time since October of 2022 that they lose back-to-back.
All right, Pierre, Lamar Jackson didn't skip a beat, missed the previous 3 weeks. Are the Vikings ready?
I think they are ready, but I mean, they're home underdog. Just after beating the Lions is a Rodney Dangerfield situation. Where's my respect for the Vikings here? I mean, they're an underdog, but it's going to be a tough game, but I think they'll be up for it.
Jen, I just want to remind you, the Bears and Lions will be tied for first place because the Bears are taking down the Giants here in Chicago. For the crew, I'm Lou.
We'll see how it looks in the standings.
We will see. Thanks for watching. See you next week on First and North. Hi, everyone. My name is Lou Cadellis at Fox 32 Chicago, and you are watching First and North. Welcome in. Joining me this week on First and North from Fox 2 in Detroit, Jennifer Hammond is back. From Fox 6 Milwaukee, Lily Zhao back on the show. And from Fox.
With stories that matter to you, this is Fox 6 News at 4.
It makes me worried. It makes her worried. It makes me just nervous for her future.
Now at 4, big changes are on the way for students and parents in the Waukesha School District. Plus,
last week, we saw our busiest week in 50 years of service.
With the government shut down and out, local pantries and local governments are stepping in.
but we're going to start today at 4 with breaking news. A federal judge ordering the Trump administration to fully fund SNAP benefits in November. Previously, the government said it would rely on an emergency fund to partially pay people in the program, but now a federal judge says that is not good enough. At this hour, no response yet from the White House on that ruling, but we'll get that to you as soon as it comes down from Washington. Now to our big story, and it does involve those SNAP benefits. Today, the county is approving money to help fill the gap until SNAP is replenished.
But as more Wisconsinites pack pantries, Jason Calvey looks at how Milwaukee is stepping in.
Well, one thing they're doing is making donations, Kim. The donation boxes here at City Hall, the donations used to be flowing outside this box earlier this week. They've been collecting them. Right now, there's a lot more room for your donations. You can make a donation here at City Hall, the county courthouse, every single MPD police station, every single MPS school, as well as every single Milwaukee library branch. So lots of options for you to make your donation. For 6 days, SNAP benefits have not gone out. Food pantries say they're being flooded with new visitors. Here at the Jewish Community Center, they've had double the usual crowd. They say it's their largest demand in 50 years of service, more than the Great Recession, more than the pandemic. To help fill some of the gap, the Milwaukee County Board of Supervisors approved $150,000 in emergency food funding. The county executive says he plans to sign it, and people in the community are looking for help right now.
I'm surviving because of the pantries, and thank God for the pantries.
It's painful to watch. It feels like it shouldn't be this way. And, you know, I'm a mother myself. I don't think people should scramble to have to feed their kids. And at the same time, I feel blessed that I'm in a position to work with these volunteers and this community and the JCC to support the community.
So now these donations that are coming from the community, the county, now stepping up, saying they're going to be making that donation of $150,000 to help with the emergency food assistance right now in this county. And that will only, the county executive says he plans to sign it, but it'll only be a drop in the bucket. Kim?
And that's my question. Will this county emergency money be enough to get food share benefits to everyone who needs them?
Well, the answer is not even close. If you look at this $150,000 they're tapping into the contingency fund for the county to make these emergency funds available. But there's 231,000 people in Milwaukee County who receive food share. So if you just do the math there, if they were to give all this money out to those 231,000 people in Milwaukee County, that would be about 65 cents per food share recipient. That's enough to buy about 2 bananas. Kim?
So breaking news at the top of the hour that the Trump administration has been ordered to fully fund SNAP, hopefully is implemented sooner rather than later. Jason Calvey, thank you so much. New details on the FAA's plan to force airlines to cut 10% of their flights at 40 of the country's busiest airports. It's all because of air traffic controller staffing shortages because of the shutdown. The cuts take effect tomorrow. Mitchell International is not on the list, but both of Chicago's airports are. Some airlines plan to focus on slashing routes to and from small and medium-sized cities.
Parents in Waukesha hope a last-ditch effort will save their school from closing. Waukesha County reporter Brett Lemoyne live with the reason Lowell Elementary families want to be heard. We've been following this story for months. Brett, what's the latest?
Yeah, pretty much all year, Ted. The school district of Waukesha predicts a 2% enrollment decline each and every year through the year 2034. And as a result, they say they've got to close schools and make some consolidations. They've been discussing these issues at school board meetings and at public forums for months. One option marked for recommendation last month is this. The plan would close, repurpose, or sell Lowell, Hawthorne, and Whittier schools. Les Paul Middle School would become a K-8 STEM school. That saves the district about $3.5 million a year and shrinks district capacity by 18%. But parents at Lowell say their school is being unfairly targeted. Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction records show nearly 60% of Lowell students are considered economically disadvantaged. Nearly 30% have disabilities. Parents are particularly worried about a deaf and hard of hearing program, DHH for short, that helps Lowell students through hardwired technology.
They just redid the gym that is sensitive for kids with hard of hearing. And it's going to be hard to do that in a different school.
The gym is also wired with special hardware that helps amplify sound.
Now, Superintendent Jim Siebert, in a written statement to Fox 6, told us that that equipment can be moved to other schools in the district at a, quote, reasonable cost. Now, the school board plans to make a final decision on which schools will close by the end of this calendar year. They do have a meeting scheduled for next week where they'll be talking about this issue. Of course, the changes won't take effect until the end of this current school year and the beginning of next. Reporting live in Waukesha, Brett Lemoyne, Fox 6 News.
Has the district said to the parents at Lowell, those parents who want to keep that open, here's a blueprint of things you need to prove and do, and we can talk? Or is this a foregone conclusion, perhaps?
Well, the parents think it's a foregone conclusion. Obviously, they're trying to combat that in these remaining weeks before a final decision is made. But they did say that they have had discussions with the board and that the board reassures them that some of this equipment can be used elsewhere. There are some portable units as well for some of the deaf and hard of hearing students that attend Lowell as well.
Brett Lemoyne reporting from Waukesha for us tonight. Thank you.
Welcome to Thursday. Taking a live look outside from our tower camera. Some sun, now clouds, less wind. So that's a good thing. Holly Baker is here with the forecast. And you're sticking with the story of snow possibly the weekend.
Yes, we got to stick to the script here. It is going to be snow, and this is going to be our first snow, too. So a lot of people have been actually looking forward to snow, considering that we haven't had it since the beginning of the year. Well, you know, your wish is my command. Here you go. You got the snow, folks. It's another reason why I'm dressed in blue, because we also have some rain in the forecast as well. Now, we'll get a few showers that could move into the area tonight. So I'm actually wearing blue. They're straightening it out. There we go. All right. So, yeah, we have some rain that we're going to be tracking first, and then we'll have some snow. But first, we got to get through some of the rain. We have several chances for rain, not just for tonight, also in Friday's forecast, too. We look right now, though. This is a look at satellite and radar. We do keep those clouds around really for the remainder of tonight, and then we're going to have some of this rain is going to continue to make its way to our area. And then those temperatures, don't get used to how it feels now, and even tomorrow's going to be a little warmer, near 60, because as we go over the weekend, temperatures are going to drop about 30 degrees. We're going to have 20s waking up in the morning over the weekend, but for now, still a little bit warmer. We're right at 51 degrees here in Milwaukee, 53 in Minneapolis, closer to home here. We're all in the 50s, except for Sheboygan, right at 49 degrees. Otherwise, though, we will stay in the 50s for just a little bit longer, and then we'll start to drop off in the 40s, and then eventually we'll get to the 30s tonight. Here's a look at those wind speeds, too. The wind speeds are very strong from the south currently, especially for those areas along the lake. And then we're going to continue with windy conditions over the weekend as well. So prepare and anchor yourself down for the wind, because we do have some blustery conditions on the way. We'll talk about more of that all coming up next. Back to you guys at the desk.
Holly, thanks. The Packers are coming off what many say is their worst performance so far this season.
You know why they're saying that?
Because it was?
Because it was their worst performance of the season. And now they have to get ready for the Super Bowl champs. At least it's a home game. Tim Van Vorn is live in Green Bay with a preview of the game against the Eagles. The good news here is, Tim, they seem to rise to the occasion when a good team is on the other side of the field.
They have to hope that happens this week because they definitely sunk to the Carolina Panthers level on Sunday. And Matt LaFleur appreciates, Kim and Ted, your reminder of how bad it was last week. And that didn't even count the loss to Tucker Kraft. So a lot going against the Packers this week, but they are back on the practice field a day later than usual. That's because they're playing on Monday night against the Philadelphia Eagles. So back out for practice on Thursday instead of Wednesday. And pretty confident group getting out there. They need to be because somehow they're favored this week. After all, they are winning the NFC North Division, but they have a tremendous amount of respect for the Super Bowl champions.
It's a very difficult team on both sides of the football and even on special teams as well. So I do think they're a complete football team. And sometimes the numbers kind of get skewed in regards to what you actually are seeing on tape.
I'll tell you, these are the numbers that matter most for the Philadelphia Eagles, Kim and Ted. 22 of the last 25 games, victories for Philadelphia if you include the playoffs. 22 out of 25. In the NFL these days, with so many surprises on a weekly basis, that's awfully impressive for Nick Sirianni and crew. They'll be here to take on the erratic Pack on Monday night.
Tim, can I ask you about something outside the game? Of course, the league mourning the loss of a Dallas Cowboy player, Marshawn Nealon, who took his own life early this morning after a chase with police. How is that talked about in the locker room there? Did the coach talk about it at all? I have to think it's on the mind of all the NFL teams.
Obviously a very somber situation down there, sad situation in Dallas. Matt LaFleur was not asked about it, did not talk about it today. Of course, the Packers played the Cowboys earlier this season, and Nealon just scored a touchdown Monday night in the game we showed highlights of against the Arizona Cardinals. So it was not discussed in the locker room with the players that I was with. I do think that you're exactly right. It has been discussed, at least behind closed doors, by these players who are in the same peer group, obviously doing the same thing that Marshawn Nealon was doing.
All right, Tim Van Voorn in Green Bay. We'll talk more at 5 o'clock about Monday night's game. Thanks, Tim.
November is Alzheimer's Disease Awareness Month. We're taking a look at the link between Alzheimer's disease and hearing loss.
And it's a significant one. An assistant professor of communication sciences and disorders at UW-Madison joining us live. We're going to talk to her about research looking into the connection between hearing loss and Alzheimer's.
You're watching Fox 6 News with Ted Perry and Kim Murphy.
November is Alzheimer's Awareness Disease Month, and earlier this year, a study linked hearing loss to Alzheimer's. So how would something as simple as hearing aids help? Joining us to talk about that is Kimberly Mueller. She's a researcher at the Wisconsin Alzheimer's Disease Research Center and an associate professor of communication sciences and disorders at UW-Madison. Thanks for being here. Let's connect the dots. Anyone who's been to a restaurant or a family party knows the frustration of not being able to hear everything that's said. But that frustration gets more intense when real hearing loss is to blame. How does that chronic problem start to affect our brains?
Yes, so hearing loss is a lot of work for people. When you're in a noisy environment like you just described, your brain is working really hard to kind of put the pieces together, tune out background noise. And as a result, that kind of compromises other memory and thinking skills. And so as we get older, when we lose hearing, we're kind of losing this ability to pay attention, to remember what we're hearing, and so forth. And so that's one of the potential reasons why there's this link between hearing loss and cognitive decline and dementia.
But there's another step in the middle, because that hearing loss leads to isolation, leads to loneliness, and then the connection is really between loneliness, and Alzheimer's. So explain that connection.
That's right. And so in addition to this other piece where you're working so hard to hear, there's also this tendency after a while to not want to go to these kinds of settings. Noise, and people tend to withdraw and are not getting the social contact. And there's definitely been a link between social isolation and dementia. So there's a multiple factors playing into this link between the two.
And hearing loss is natural. I mean, it happens to all of us to some degree, but as somebody north of 60 like I am, it really does drop off the table here. Give me some good news. What did your clinical trials reveal to give people hope that this can at least be reversed or at least slowed?
Yes, so I think that there are studies that are being done looking at hearing aids and improvement in quality of life, number one. So that's been proven time and time again that people who get hearing aids, their overall quality of life improves, their social contact improves. But also observational studies have shown that people who wear hearing aids have a lower risk of dementia. And it's probably because of these factors that we're talking about.
And the technology is getting so much better. In about 15 seconds, what is your advice to anyone who feels that they are losing their hearing and are worried about this eventual possible connection?
I think the best advice is to go and see an audiologist if possible. If that is not possible, you can purchase over-the-counter hearing aids at pharmacies or online, and that would be another solution if you don't have access to an audiologist.
So there is hope, at least slowing this. All right. Professor Kimberly Mueller from UW, thank you so much, and thanks for taking the time to talk to us.
Thanks again.
Let's take a live look outside right now, and not too bad. We got a little bit of sun, Ted.
Yeah, real hazy, though, still. The sun is a little harder to find than it was yesterday. A series of muted blues today where they're more of a contrast yesterday. But I feel less wind today, so we made a trade.
Yes, less wind, but hey, no promises with that wind to stay this way, because we're going to pick up with the wind again. So you better anchor down, because we got wind on the way, we got snow on the way, and even rain. I think the most colorful part about the picture they just showed was the leaves on the trees. This is like my drive to work is so magical feeling, because I go from reds to oranges and then yellows, and it's just like it boosts my mood. So if you are one of those people where you're a sucker for the sunlight and those bright colors, maybe take a walk outdoors while it's still dry to enjoy some of those colors of the leaves. Now, we do have more clouds to move in tonight, and we will be getting dark here in in less than an hour because we have our sunset now in the 4 o'clock hour. So we don't have to worry about at least any more sunshine for the rest of the day, really. But tomorrow you can give it a try because we will have some dry time, which we'll talk about all that in the forecast. But let's look right now. Temperatures at 51 degrees here in Milwaukee with a feels like temperature of 30, or with a feels like temperature of 51. Dew points are at 33. Our wind currently is from the south. Still a little breezy out there, but not as windy as it has been in the past. And that wind currently is at about 14 miles per hour. We look at those temperatures too across the area. We're all starting to drop, but mainly still holding steady in the lower 50s. But we do have some areas already in the 40s. So 49 in Juneau and Sheboygan, and a lot of other areas will follow. So we'll be in the 40s before we know it. Now, as we head throughout the rest of tonight, here is a look at that statewide forecast with those forecasted lows. So we are overall going to stay pretty warm. We have a southerly flow of the wind, so it's going to kind of help balance out temperatures. We'll only get down to about 48 degrees for a low temperature tonight, so we're not going to drop too far from where we already are. Really across the state, much warmer than what we've seen and what we will see in the future. We do have some cooler temperatures on the way. I'm talking 20 degrees, lower 20s at nighttime, and then throughout the day we only warm to the 30s. So I hope you have those coats ready because you will need them for this weekend. But no worries, if you're not ready for it to cool down that fast, here's a look at our temperature outlook over the next 8 to 14 days. So we're looking to still be above our average. So the temperatures will gradually start to climb back up and be above the average. The average right now is the lower 50s. So we will get back to that point, but we do have a cold weekend ahead of us here. Let's look at those wind gusts too for tomorrow. Wind gusts for tomorrow are going to pick up for the start of the day, and then they'll really start to calm down again as we head towards the rest of at least that evening for tomorrow. Here's a look at our current drought conditions. As you see here, the drought monitor has updated. Today is Thursday. There is more tan on here as well, which means that a lot of areas have went from abnormally dry to more of a moderate drought. So we do need some rain, and we will get a lot of that over the next couple of days combined. We'll get enough rain, maybe not to calm down these conditions, but to help it a little bit. We look at our satellite and radar across the state. We're covered with those clouds. A few of those showers really out there as well. That will come in the area tonight. Let's take a look at our Sky Vision Plus here as we plan ahead. So as we go throughout the rest of tonight, the rain should move in around about 9:30, and then that's going to be happening all overnight. Should be out of the area before you really get on your way for Friday. That wind will be very strong throughout the day, and then but as we go throughout the day, it is going to stay pretty dry until Friday night. We will have another round of some showers to move through the area into Saturday's forecast, and then Saturday is where all the madness happens. We'll start with some rain, and then eventually as we head towards Saturday evening, that rain will transition over into some snow. Keeping windy conditions, temperatures will steadily drop. More snow showers on the way as we head into Sunday, and even parts of early Monday we could have some snow before skies start to clear for the rest of the week, and temperatures warming back up in the 50s by Wednesday. So we got a busy week on the way here, Kim.
A little bit of everything in the weather bag. All right, thanks, Holly. This month marks 50 years since the sinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
And here's your chance to learn more about the historic ship and the crew members who were on board when it went down in Lake Superior. A preview of our new documentary, Gales of November, the final voyage of the Edmund Fitzgerald, coming your way.
And today is November 6th, which means it's time for Buddy Check 6. Remind your buddy right now to do their monthly breast self-exam. The earlier you find cancer, the better your odds of beating it. Call your buddy today, and don't forget to do your own exam. If you don't already have a buddy, get one now. Go to fox6now.com for all of the information and join Buddy Check 6.
To commemorate 5 decades since the tragedy of the Edmund Fitzgerald, Fox 6 has produced an all-new documentary.
It dives deep into the history and legacy of this Midwest legend. Here's a sneak peek.